Welcome back, councillors and staff. We're going to have a bit of an update.
Finance is going to give us an update of the current position, Your Worship.
Yeah, thank you, Your Worship. So currently the rates percentage is sitting at 19.73% from the decisions made this morning, and also the amount that's committed from the investment surplus is 76,979.27. So 76.9 thousand
from the investment
surplus. Yep. Yeah, 77k if you want to round it to the nearest thousand. Yeah.
79. Any questions for Trey, councillors?
Greg,
sorry.
I don't know where Trey is, but
Sorry, Trey. My apologies, Councillor Cathal was not fatigued us.
Oh.
it's
Councillor
Trey.
Collins.
Sorry,
Trey.
so
Have a seat, Greg.
that's about half of the surplus left. Is that correct? I think we got 165. I thought we were told on Tuesday.
No, again, at the end of the day, it's always going to come out of equity. Whatever you think the surplus was is really it's moot, because it's going to come out of equity.
Right. No, understand.
If you're unsure, just confide in Councillor Tammy Hill.
Well, there's 29 million in the account. Better leave most of that there.
What for the unitary?
We did it for the middle fund.
Righto. Thank you, Greg. Right, we'll get on to our next item in our agendas, which is 2.11. Oh, sorry, 2.10. I was waiting for Councillor Cathal to call me to get this for Steve. Right, questions for staff. Councillor Cotton.
Thank you, Your Worship. Michael, Lily, and or both. So we've got a firm quote for this to do this job that's still live.
Through Your Worship, I'm not. No, I don't know.
Nothing with the submission. Nothing attached to the submission. I'm pretty sure there was a might attached from some company.
Yeah, there was actually
to the submission. Did you read your submission papers, Councillor?
Of course, I read them.
Why are you asking the question?
Well, I just want to see clarity from staff.
Clarity might be there's no additional information beyond the submission.
Okay, thank you. Some of them expire, don't they?
Yes, just the point is we haven't chased up or got further information.
Thank you.
Past that.
Past the submission. Councillor Graham.
No, I haven't gotten over lunch yet. Anyway,
It's former earlier prior lunch. Councillor Kennedy.
Yeah, I don't know, it's a hard one because it's a dosing thing. Don't we pay for a person there to do the cleaning and the dosing? Now we want a machine to do it.
I'll clarify that for you if you like, staff. We give an annual grant. What we have been doing. Last year was a one-off.
It was a one-off.
One-off last year, yeah. Councillor McAtamney.
The question I would have is, has the aquatic centre applied anyone else for any grants for this? Is council last resort?
That once again, that would have been with the submission papers, I presume.
For Your Worship, other funds that they've stated here in their submission is they're applying to the Tiger Community Trust, the Trust Community Foundation, and in-house fundraisers for all of their upcoming projects and cost needs.
Is this included? Yeah.
Well, I dare say, like most community organisations, they've got a pretty big work stream when it comes to community fundraising, sausage sizzles, cheese rolls, grants. This is only one of their wish list, I'm thinking. Councillor Cathal.
Oh, well, actually, I've got no questions. Happy to have a discussion.
Right, if there's no more questions, we'll go into discussion. Councillor Cathwood.
Oh, I'm actually going to fully support this. Councillor Cruz, there's a reason I've got plenty of projects on the go. Once again, it'll be a huge group of volunteers within that community. They'll be doing massive efforts towards fundraising to maintain and operate the facility there. Obviously, the reason being they've been having to visit the pool twice a day voluntarily to do the chemical dosing and testing. So obviously they're still going to be doing that testing once a day, and that allows once a day by having this particular automated machine. So yeah, I'd be fully supportive of the recommendation.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Smith. Harrison. Kennedy. Activity.
Yeah, I suppose there's a sentence here, I'm trying to find it. This upgrade would ensure safe, reliable. Does it for me?
Yes, Your Worship, just for that, I obviously am going to support this. Just a wee bit of background. This is a very, very hard-working committee. Last year, there was a big thing about heating the pool when they had to get a diesel heater in and pay for fuel for quite a period to keep the pool open, which was a big cost to them. I know the community board supported that and others as well to keep it going. So they're a very, very proactive group. And obviously, as Councillor Cathwood said, there's a volunteer doing that now, and that's through the weekend as well. So it's going to lessen that impact and probably spread the workload as well. So it's something really worth doing, in my opinion.
Councillor Frost, any discussion?
I looked at this to support Councillor Graham's and Councillor Cotton's comments. Yep, and I think this is a very good use of money because it's going to free up volunteers to do other things within the aquatic centre and probably raise money to for the next project.
Very good. Well, there's no further good discussion. Would someone like to make a recommendation? Councillor Frost.
I recommend that the council approves funding of $26,590.65 to the Tuapeka Aquatic Centre in 26-27 to purchase and install an automated chemical dosing system funded from
Capital.
where is it comes from? UAGs. Capital purchase.
Investment capital.
Investment capital.
Capital.
It's seconded by Councillor McCrosty. Any further discussion? Well, I'll ask people to, all those in favour, please raise your hand.
Aye.
Carried. Thank you. Item number 2.11. Collective Valley Rural Neighbourhoods. Questions for Michael Lilly? Councillor Harris.
I've got down here that they're wanting $20,000 for the project,
No.
but it says in here that they're requesting $10,000.
Yeah.
50%.
Through your worship, the body of the report is the truth. Here.
No, bit of clarification there. They put their total amount in the wrong column. They definitely only want half, which is 10,776 would be hard.
Okay, because what's in the report through your worship is, as I said there, it's through the verbal submission, and that was what they said, they were 10K, so it's slightly less than half.
Okay.
Near enough.
Yep.
Councillor Graham, did you have your hand up?
Yeah, no, it was same.
Right.
Clarifying that, thanks.
Any further questions? Or we move into discussion.
I'm sorry, can I just got a question? Your worship, just about that sentence that talked about the allocation, Mike, of the 90,000 to the projects in 23, and that there's 53,000 still allocated, still yet to be allocated, so that there's a large chunk of money that hasn't yet been allocated to projects. That's correct?
That's correct.
Has there been any indication from the group or the community that you've been talking with around the likelihood of allocating?
No, there's been two quite decent sized projects, including Valley. Both of those are pretty well either finished or almost finished. And so nothing really on the horizon at this point.
So we'll get discussion going. So like, is there a possibility that funding could come from our place community plan?
It's up to you if you wanted to do that.
I realise that, but the question was.
It aligns with the community plan to some extent. It's not a specific project in there, but
Which relates to the next question then, has the community plan been very active? Have they been proactive or are they getting?
as I said, that those two projects, I supported that really, really well, but again, community led and raised a whole lot of money.
How many other projects they got on their list in their plan?
At this stage,
None. So they haven't got any future projects and we've got $53,000 in the bank.
Well, it's quite in the banks and the investment.
Now bank.
surplus.
Well, Oh, sorry for the lack of detail. Any further discussion? Councillor Harrison.
Just to clarify this recommendation again, we've got 50% towards the purchase of the TV cameras, which we haven't got a quantified amount there. It's roughly 17,000 for the whole thing. And then we've also got council agreeing to fund the ongoing operating costs of the cameras. Is that just for the first year, as it says so in the recommendation, or is that ongoing year after year?
Through you, Your Worship. Well, for the other decisions similar decisions that have been made in recent times, that's obviously an ongoing cost. It's not much point in putting it in if you don't service it.
Yeah, but in the recommendation it says in the first year.
It's probably going to go up. That's the cost.
Yes, so the intent of it, that we would all understand, similar to other ones that have been done, is that we'll be committing to the ongoing maintenance, the ongoing operating costs of the system, just as we had with others. It's just where we're heading.
Councillor Catherwood.
Just to add to that discussion, so we've had quite a few communities over the years have been coming, and if I remember rightly, communities have been coming up with their 50%, and the other 50% has generally been coming out of investment surplus in the past. But again, there was a little bit of pushback at the start. The first community came along on this 50-50 idea around the table, but once again, it's going to come up to the LTP. We've always said we're going to review our community CCTV. So if memory serves me well, I'd actually prefer that this community was supported in the same way and not even to their our place, Clydevale, Clutha Valley funds. So I'm fully in support of it, but I'd like it funded the same way other communities were in the past, just to be fair. And then we'll deal with the operational costs of all the communities when we move into LTP. So approve it this year.
I think Councillor McCosty. No, Councillor Mick.
If I can, I'd like to move a couple of recommendations.
Right, we'll just see if we've got any further discussion for that. Councillor Frost.
For me, I'd have an opposing due to Councillor Catherwood's $53,577 in an account somewhere that hasn't been allocated. Personally, I'd prefer to use the 10,000 or whatever they want for that account. No impact on rates. And then fund the $1,089 a year exclusive of GST, as we seem to be for the other cameras in the area.
Councillor Graham.
Yeah, through you. Well, to counter that, I think as soon as you start going against what the policy is, their existing policy, you start having exceptions, you're opening up a real kettle of fish there down the track. So I would be supportive of doing it 50-50 the way the other ones have. And look at that 53,000 later on.
Councillor McCott.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just looking in our agenda item where it mentions Quinton, Kaitangata and Awaka, they've all been funded from different budgets. So what's the consistency there?
Well, obviously, Councillor Cotton, not much.
Yeah. So we're saying that, like Councillor Graham says, we just do it the way we normally do it, but where's that?
Those decisions would have been made on the day by the councillors.
So how much money we have.
So is there a preference?
Yes. George,
Just
what's
going
going
to
to answer?
clarify through you, Your Worship, where we have been putting in CCTV to protect our assets specifically, it's been 100% funded by council, and it's been, like, that's about Clutha and what's planned as part of the streetscape, and that was funded as part of the streetscape project. So there's a couple of different ways it's been funded as well. Those have been for council asset protection rather than community wanting it in their area. And those operating costs would normally be funded through Parks and Reserves, so it's 50% UAGC and 50% community interest.
Okay, so this is different.
But that we're proposing that could be the opportunity for the ongoing costs will be funded the same way through the rural parks and reserves.
Councillor Harrison.
Is there any further thoughts on that fourth camera at the water treatment plant as specified in this agenda?
Just if I could clarify, the intent there was not necessarily to have a fourth camera, but whether one of them could be repositioned there rather than, because that'll add quite a significant additional cost, but that was, may attract a bit of evangelism, who knows.
Simon?
Some contractors.
Couldn't comment, Councillor.
Okay, I come back to, I'll try and move a motion that council will agree to fund 50% towards the purchase price of CCTV cameras for Clutha Valley, up to a maximum of calculation $10,276 to be funded from the investment surplus. And secondly, that council agrees to fund the ongoing operating costs of the CCTV cameras for Clutha Valley being up to $1,089, excluding GST in the first year, to be funded from the Parks and Recreation.
Steve, I just confirmed, Councillor Steve, that we've taken both recommendations, one, did we?
You can.
Yeah.
I'll second that.
Yeah. So, Councillor McAtamney, seconded Councillor Catherwood. Any further discussion?
Your Worship, I'm happy to support this. I think the community's health and safety is front of mind, and as Raymond Van Vliet said in verbal submission, there's been issues over there, so hopefully this will help alleviate that.
All I'll add to that is that I reckon it's great. It's good community ownership. They're coming up with half, so the community leads. Who knows? They're better. The community's better than those that live in it, and we might even get to watch Mr. McAtamney leaving the Grandfield Tavern.
I'm attracted with my 16-foot.
So you must have been over there last night, did you?
Therefore, I'll ask all those in favour, please raise your hand. Those against? Carried. Right, 2.12. Carry at the main board. Questions for Lily or Mike, please, councillors. Councillor Cotton.
Thank you, Your Worship. Can you tell us what the current balance of their account is?
For your worship, I'll probably pass that over to the account.
While Trey's researching it, any further questions, councillor Smith?
I'd have the same as councillor Cotton, due to the fact that I think it's rather quite large,
No,
or
it's not.
the group that they're involved with.
Councillor
Could be wrong.
Croston, any conversation? Councillor Catherwood? Harrison? No one wants to talk to me?
Discussion? Any for discussion?
Oh, we'll just exhaust all the questions for start, wait for the answer from councillor Cottons. Councillor Frost, any questions? You're right, take your time, councillor Frost. Councillor Catherwood.
Well, I did ask the man at the time, about community sport and that, and they used to be able to fund themselves, but now the community seems to be more inclined to fund your own things or something. So from my perspective, that's quite disappointing that the younger generation are not prepared to put into their community what the older generation wears. So probably for me, I'll go against this one.
We'll set the discussion. Trey, an answer, thank you.
They're currently 7,630 in deficit as of today's date.
Thank you. Councillor Catherwood.
Yeah, just on those figures, so we gave them 15,000 last year. So I spent 15 and they're now 7 in arrears. So it's costing them 22.
So yeah, on that, they started the year at a 15,000 deficit. So essentially the grant last year was to pay for that. But since they've spent about $7,000 this financial year. Yeah, with minimal income.
Do we have other examples in our district of what this kind of setup? Combined sports body workers sort of comes to.
We have a similar one in the Lawrence Chuapeka community where they have a sports complex at Simpson Park there, and there's multiple users, but they all pay a subscription to the main body to pay for operating expenses and so forth, like for the power and we don't subsidise a little bit. Yeah, and it's not subsidised.
Yeah, that's one thing, that's one.
Yeah, I can talk to.
Yeah, I don't know.
Clutha Valley Rugby Club, it's actually not Clutha Valley Rugby Club, the Clutha Valley Recreation Ground owns that ground and pavilion. But it's got an agreement, the committees are essentially the same. But the rugby club, the Lions Club also uses it, both of them pay a rental. But the rugby club has always agreed that they will cover the electricity, gas, skip high, quite a few of those basic maintenance, just simply because they're the main user. In this case here, I noticed that the domain's still paying the insurance and stuff in the rates, but they're not charging much of a rental to the rugby club, although the rugby club is contributing some of the maintenance. Yeah, I'll be open to giving them something, but I think they do need to work with their rugby club on a more appropriate model going forward. The rugby club could contribute more. Being council owned, we probably do have an obligation to help.
Yeah, okay.
Councillor Cotton.
Yeah, no, thank you, Your Worship. Yes, I agree with Councillor McAtermini, but there's a couple of things that jump out at me. Firstly, they're talking about fixed costs such as maintenance, but insurance, electricity, heating and rates And any other commercial lease, it doesn't matter whether it's a community one or not, that's really either built into the lease arrangement or the tenant pays it, or you recover it. So that for me doesn't sit very well. I don't, I reckon there needs to be a bit of discussion between the two groups over there around that. And what was the other thing? No, that'll do for now. Thank you, that'll do for now. Just a statement.
Just for your information too, Councillor Catherwood, we've also, like Gymkhana clubs that have on council land, have leases to council land, sport and recreation, and the Lions Chirpeka Gymkhana club, it's the main hub for numerous other organisations too, separate to the sports complex up there, and they all pay an affiliation fee as well for all operational expenditures. So the question for staff is, how much involvement do we have since we manage the accounts on behalf of the here at Domain? How much support have we actually provided the Domain, or have the Domain asked for support from our staff when it comes to cash flows and budgetary requirements, like moving forward to make it a more sustainable proposition for them? No.
Not from community services.
Right.
Purely our involvement has been just processing their submission grant.
Yeah, but like they say in there that the council manages their finances in the submission, so.
It's done through finance, I assume.
Finance, so is this not also a great opportunity that we could get on board with this community organisation and help them better understand their financial, Sharon down the back.
We essentially just act as a bank account for them, and we pay power on their behalf. So that's the main thing that we do, is the power payments.
Right.
Yep.
So possibly is an opportunity for us to, as a council.
Your worship,
To
yeah,
work with
if
them.
I think I agree with you. If we are getting in situations that there are annual, that the accounts are going into deficit because they're making all these payments in terms of the operating model, and that's all they're seeing is the deficit operating model, and we as a banker, we're managing the accounts, but we're also end up being the banker because we get asked to put more money into that situation. It would be correct that we should have more influence over the operating model and make inquiries about that side of things. Because at the end of the day, let's say moving to the LTP or thinking ahead, it would be valid for you to say in that respect of the Domain board, do you want to agree to continue to fund deficits in that sense for the way it's operating, or do you want to change, do you expect to change to the way they operate? Which it could include, closing the grounds or whatever. I'm just saying that you have to make a decision around that, and that's something you should, because otherwise all you're being asked to do everywhere else, they're simple grants, but here, if there is no influence over the operating model, how big is the deficit going to grow?
Well, that's my point. So at the moment, we're actually big finances of a model that's broken. It's not sustainable. So for our own morals, we need to be working alongside this community to balance the books. So it goes back to what I said last November. If we always do what we've always done, we'll always get what we've always got. So I think it's a prime opportunity, even if we funded the deficit that they're currently at, and start working alongside them immediately on how they can be a profitable organisation. Councillor Kennedy.
So you've actually got 3 bodies involved in here, because the Royal Kids run out of the old bowling club building, which is part of the Domain as well. But speaking to the person that put this forward, I have spoken with that as a group, they need to get together and have a talk, and have things have changed over the years. The ones that used to run all the stock and that, their farms have changed. There's not sheep there, you can't run cattle around rugby grounds, it wouldn't be very good. But yes, if we could help with the deficit and give a it won't be an operating grant, it'll be a one-off. And then I think we then put in a bit more extra work and get the three parties together, that they're all working together for the one community.
There must be four, though, is there, Councillor Kennedy? You've got playgrounds, tennis court, rugby club and rural kids.
The tennis courts and that were done through Our Place West Otago. So they've all been done up, and new nets and everything, and repainted. That's all. That's a project.
I get that, but
that's
there's an
been finished.
organisation there that's using the facility there.
Not
Moving
a tennis club, no. It's just done up with a basketball hoop and everything for children in the area to play it. But it's on that bit of ground. That's classed as that part of that bit of ground as well. The playground, the rugby club have done that themselves. So that's all maintained by them. Rugby club do have a lot of money. I know where you're coming from, yes, but it's not them that are here asking for money. This is the domain board who need to talk with these other guys and just work out their pricings, and so they're not having to come here for this sort of thing.
Well, they're going to be coming back each year. Obviously, they were here last year. So just to confirm, is the deficit still 2,000, right, or was it $7,000? So just to confirm, the deficit is currently 7,000. Councillor Harrison. Councillor Catherwood.
Just that 15,000 we last year, that you put onto community facility, right?
Just while we're waiting, Councillor Cotton.
Thank you, Your Worship. I know when this group submitted last year, they asked for the 15,000 grant, and they said it was a one-off in their submission. So clearly, they, as you and the CEO suggest, they need a wee bit of guidance, and I think that's a great idea moving forward to help them out. Maybe it's just as simple as not seeing the wood because of all the trees. So, and obviously it didn't help them much last year, just got them out of deficit and straight back in it. So yeah.
Councillor Frost.
Well, for me, I mean, these people are showing, a lack of leadership, but I mean, you've got Topoma, the recreation centre, they're all working at trying to sort their issues out, and this group here don't seem to be doing anything. So personally, I don't think it's the council's responsibility to sort this out. They need to get together themselves, and to me it seems like the rugby club at Heriot are getting a bit of a free ride here. Most other rugby clubs I know, they pay their own ground fees, their electricity, their insurance, the whole shooting box. So, and apparently by the sounds of it, the Heriot Rugby Club have quite a healthy bank account, and it's no wonder. So I think it's time for the Heriot Domain Board to instigate some conversations with the people that use it, and not let them continue to have a free ride. Because I'm not interested in funding this, even though they're in a deficit. We're nearing the end of the rugby season. The rugby club should be paying the electricity, the insurance, all these things on that building. And it seems to me like they're not. So that's where I stand.
Thank you, Councillor Frost. Lily, how'd you go?
For your worship, yeah, it was funded through the community facility rate in 2025.
50-50. 50 across district, 50 to the West Otago, is that right?
Councillor Smith.
Just a wee query, and Michelle might be able to answer, you guys. It's a bit like what Simon said that in the Valley one, but it's all the same people, is it? They're all on those committees, is it the same sort of thing for Heriot? So, that's a bit of a question.
Look, I couldn't make another comment, Your Honour. So, I mean, I've been part of the Otago Rugby Club for years, and we've always wondered how, clubs like Heriot can afford to import players constantly. we haven't been able to afford to because we pay our own bills. And so when you get around this council table now, I find these things out. It's no wonder. So they had an advantage over some of the rugby clubs in this area for years because they haven't been contributing to the facilities they use. So I'm sorry, it's about time that stopped because they have been taking advantage, and I'm not going to see ratepayers' money blown away while these people have a huge bank account.
I appreciate
It's just not good enough. So, they may not like me in here after today, but I don't think they did. They didn't leave the Roger actually, sorry.
Oh, well,
would you like to put a motion for the?
Yes, I would actually.
Thank you for your honesty, councillor Frost. Any further discussion before I call councillor?
Just wondering how many times, councillor Frost has been to court.
Your Honour. Yeah.
Your Honour. Hey,
Thank you for the accolades. Right, if there's going to be no further discussion, excuse me, I'll just take a moment. Thank you for your honesty, councillor Frost. If there's no further discussion, would someone like to make a recommendation?
Your Worship, sorry. You're right. The council does not approve funding $15,000 to the area domain board in 26-27 as an operational grant from.
Doesn't need to.
There's no grant coming.
I'm sorry. You've got to force them into, sorting their own shit out. So excuse my language, but.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion?
I probably would have gone for a bit of a balance, maybe reduce their amount. But I'm not going to amend it. The motion's been put forward and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. Well, I was going to touch on what you're touching on. I'd like to see it amended to at least clear the deficit and have the council staff engage with them immediately and work on a better business model for moving forward so that they're not in this situation again. So there's my bit of discussion. Any further discussion? Right. We'll go to the vote. If no one else has got anything to add to the discussion on councillor Frost's recommendation, seconded by councillor Cathwood. All those in favour?
Aye.
And all those against? Have you got that, Ian? No?
Graham.
That might have to go last.
Who was it? Sorry.
The nays, could you put your hand up again, please?
The yays or nays?
Nays.
Okay.
Graham.
Against.
You'll be fine.
Smith.
Right, so that recommendation failed. Do we have any further recommendations? Councillor Harrison.
I would like to put in a recommendation that the council approves funding of the deficit. Do I have to do this in a different way? The deficit so far, and then offers the guidance to the future for their accounts, so they don't go back into a deficit again.
So I think the deficit's $7,000. $7,630.
7,630.
And then to be funded from, and then just the point on the funding from, I mean, it's a one-off.
There's a one-off.
So does that allow the
Community.
Well, I'm just thinking if your rates percentage is going up every time. Yeah, sorry, Train.
One off, they're not coming.
What about
Well done, councillor Harrison, that was what I was thinking.
sports funds, the sports reserve fund?
Same bank account.
Is it? Different letters though.
The auditor's head.
Don't get confused in Port Ogie. Thank you, Councillor. Craig.
I'd just like to mention that it's the current deficit is 7,630, but that's going to grow in the next 2 months when we have 2 months more worth of bills.
Yes, yeah, we did, Lily had brought that to attention. Thank you, Craig.
So is that as of the debt now or the 2 months?
Now. So, would, how are you getting on, Ange? Would we like to read that before we get a second? If it's going to be second.
So we are going to approve funding of $7,630 to clear the debt and for CDC staff to work with the Harriet Domain Board going forward.
Where was it from? I'll be back.
From, well, I think sports recreation.
Yeah.
Sports ground reserve.
So do I have a seconder, Councillor Graham? Any further discussion before we go to the vote? Councillor Frost.
So this council is really going to use ratepayers' money to continue subsidising the Harriet Rugby Club. We should be made aware of what the bank balance of the Harriet Rugby Club is at this point and how much they are contributing to the running costs of the Harriet Domain, as they are the main user. Because the war chest they've built up over the years by the looks would suggest that they are not contributing as they should be. And it should not be up to the ratepayers of this district to then subsidise their activities by clearing their debts, because the debt involved is only minuscule compared to what they have in the bank. So I'll be voting against this.
Just a reminder that an item is Harriet Domain Board, not the Harriet Rugby Club.
Yeah.
I know, but the submission is from the Harriet Domain Board. Councillor McAtaman.
Just in reply to Councillor Frost, it should be noted that he's talking about rugby club. I mean, good on them for having a big balance and running a good financial ship. But there's several other rugby clubs in the district that get a very good ride from the fact that the council owns and maintains and the sports grounds, including the Taco Rugby Club.
That'd be good. Now, who else is there?
Not the one. Minimals.
Down Frost.
You made a good cut of the cloth there, Councillor. No further discussion. We'll take it to the vote. All those in favour of the latest recommendation, please raise your hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And she got them all.
No.
Not quite keeping up. Just get mine so I can put my hand down.
No.
Take the nose, take the nose.
Take the nose. It's a small sponge.
You'll get that picture.
And those against, please raise your hands.
Aye.
Thank you. Carried.
I'll be back.
Right, 2.13. Harriet District's Community Centre. Chaps, questions for staff, please. Sorry, Councillor Frost.
Is this building in the same vicinity as the Harriet Rugby Club is in the big red building in the background? That's the community centre in Harriet, is it?
Yes, Your Worship. Yes, Your Worship, it is.
Thank you.
I've got a question for staff. So they receive an annual operating grant from council of 8,852 and are requesting a continuation of the 5,000 increase. Are requesting a continuation of the 5,000 increase. Should that not be they're requesting an increase of 5,000?
To the council approves.
So that will take it up to, yeah. So how's that in relation to the other community centres throughout the district that the council give community grant, operating grants to?
For your worship, the grants that we give out to community centres are quite varied. Amounts, that's again depending on their operating costs. Then I put continuation of the 5,000, so in 2025 they received that additional $5,000 to the baseline grant that they've already got there of 8,853.53. So they're just requesting to have that 5,000 continue this year to make it the 13,852.53 amount.
Yes, but through your worship and Sharon, that was only put through as a one-off, wasn't it? So that the issue is that, like a lot of those ones that happen, you have to redo it again this year. It has a rate funding impact potentially.
And the question I asked was based on, we've got multiple community centres around our districts that rely on council grants. So moving forward, long term, we need to be looking at a model which equally distributes funding rather than the groups coming to us with rising operational costs and so forth. We face that daily in our households and businesses, but what's the value? How's the figure calculated? Is it on the asset value, or is it just calculated on because the rates and insurance and the power has gone up? So there's really another good opportunity here to put everyone on a level playing field moving forward into the future. And I think we seriously have to address these along with our pools, anything, because I keep harping on about it. When the rates caps come in, we will certainly not have the ability to help our communities. So, any other questions for staff? Councillor Kennedy.
Really?
Yeah.
My question is, guys, so I know this has happened before. So once you get to the long-term plan submission, and if they put in, then that baseline changes and stays. Is that right?
If you approve it at
If
the
you
long-term
approve it.
plan for multiple years,
Yeah.
yes, then it would stay.
Because it gets quite confusing on who's putting in and who's not, and when they go forward. And you'll see why, coming up later, why I'm asking this question, because even as a councillor, I know we're supposed to know, but things get missed, and then an operation grant will come around and you forget to say to one group in your community and they forget about it. That's all right, thank you.
Any further questions? Councillor Cathwood.
Well, question for Michelle. You'll know this facility well.
Yeah.
It's in your,
Yeah, I was here on Anzac Day.
yeah, it's in your backyard. So it's community owned.
Yeah.
Is that enough for them to be operating annually 13,000?
Well, I mean, they came last year because they hadn't had one for quite a while, had they? It had been sitting for a long time. So I think they came last year needing, to say, and they're just asking for it to be carried on this year so that when it hits the long-term plan, then they can get that base rate sitting up there at $5,000. Yeah.
In
This is a different group to the other?
Yes.
Yeah, because it's another community facility. So we've got West Otago Community Centre, right?
Yeah.
Major of
Yeah.
West Otago. So then, how big, what size of community is this particular facility servicing? So I mean, you could obviously get used as emergency services.
Yeah, so you've got all of Heriot and then you've got
500?
the rural. You've got all the rural, like Mile Flat and all that come into here too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 1,000 people?
Oh, I don't know what he was living out there at the moment.
No. 500.
Any further questions for staff or councillor Kennedy?
There's a play centre that runs out of there too. Squash club, I think, went into receivership, but I don't know if they're still using the courts or not, but it is a well-used building for that community. The Dunrobin don't have a hall anymore.
So it's well used.
Yeah.
So if there's no further questions for staff, we'll move into discussion. Councillor Catherwood.
Well, not knowing it fully myself, but from the answers I've heard on the table, I mean, I'll support it, and they obviously need it. Turned up for the money. It's obviously a very important community asset. Well patronised by the sounds of it. Funding would come from the community facilities, right? From the company, people that are using it pay for the majority of it.
Will that have an impact on?
Yeah, it'll have an impact on rates.
Yes, but it's only up to.
Mine, 5,000 on 50% URGC and 50% community facility.
Very minor, but the minors all amount up to majors.
How else you can fund it?
Yeah, that's right.
It's a community facility paid for by the community.
Councillor,
Sorry, I mean, to be reminded, Your Worship, that there's still a mix of how these might be funded, but we're right down at the really minor dollar amount changes now, so we're not expecting anything significant coming into the.
I'm just being a bit risk averse.
Whoa!
That's the person I am.
This is on the west side.
All the minors amount up to majors. Right, any further discussion, councillor Cotton?
Thank you, Your Worship. I've got no problem supporting this. We support all community centres, so I think this is no different to the others, so I think we're on the day.
Yep. Councillor Smith, Crosty, Harrison, McAtamney, Graham. I think we've got councillor Frost.
I don't need to say any more.
Well, if there's no more discussion, I'll take it to the vote. All those in favour, please raise your hands.
No, we didn't.
Oh, who did actually do it? No one telling you. No, we've been not. I think I've been got it. Moved by councillor Kennedy, seconded by councillor McAtamney. Oh dear. Told you all those minors amount to majors.
Having a major.
So no further discussion. Go to the vote. Yeah. I don't think we need to ask councillor.
He's abstained.
Did he abstain or did he not?
Against?
No, against.
You would like that, no? Oh dear.
I was like that.
Right, we shall move on to 2.14. South Otago Athletics Club. Any questions for staff?
Your Worship, perhaps I just add in from a staff perspective, I think councillor Graham mentioned one point about using the word moral and things like that. Here's another item. I'm just reminded that there was this big debate about the athletics club and shifting them from our destination park, and that after much angst, submissions, public forums, and all that, we got a negotiated, and a lot of effort from staff, negotiated movement by and agreed by all parties to have them at the high school and that. And so the thought there is that there was always going to be the potential for some transition costs or some setting up for the future, because this is the idea, setting up for the future, that's where they're going to be long term. And there was no guarantee that council would pay anything, but I just sort of mentioned the point that we did do that big shift, and this is one relatively minor request.
So I'll open up for questions for staff. Councillor.
Probably a question, but it seems quite excessive cost to long jump, but there is one or two there now.
Won't be up to speed.
Won't be up to standard, but yeah, it's.
It does actually state though to go.
I read the
track work.
Yeah, I did.
And other enhancements.
Bit of timberance or gravel.
I think the answer to that one though is that it goes into the submission, is that there is moving into the high school, the level of facility at the high school was always not going to be the same necessarily as the level of, like professional or high level athletic sport. There was always going to be a difference whilst they had the basic things. And so there's always going to be that question around what aspects may be looked at to be upgraded to support the athletics level of service that's required, look for versus what a high school provides. There's always going to be a potential gap.
For your worship, may I add that request also includes the seasonal line marking.
Yeah.
To support that.
Yeah, I copied that, yeah, yeah.
Councillor Harrison.
I was just going to ask if the high school students obviously will be using the facility, so is there a chance to actually partially pay for it with the high school?
They did discuss that, asked that question when they come and submitted, and that was, no, was the answer. Because the equipment they've got there is adequate for the high school kids. The athletics club want to lift the game. So they didn't see any benefit why for them or the trustees. Councillor Kennedy.
The athletics group, I'm surprised that they haven't gone to the New Zealand Federation and the Otago Federation, because they'll all be affiliated once you join the athletics group. There's a set, where they do their meets and everything. And I'm pretty sure, I'm surprised that they haven't gone to them for help in this line marking and, I'm pretty sure they do help each other out and that sort of thing and get themselves up and going again properly.
That might be something that Lillian or Mike would like to ask when I see them next. Any further questions for staff? We'll move into discussion. If there's not much discussion, we'll take a recommendation by now. Councillor McTimmie.
All right, I'll recommend that council approve funding of $4,795 to the South Otago Athletics Club in 2026-27 as a grant funded from the investment fund.
Not the Sport and Recreation Reserve Fund or whatever you've been nibbling away at today.
Wasn't me, yeah.
No, it's still 220,000, isn't it? Seconded by Councillor Graham. No amendments to that recommendation?
No.
Discussion?
We're in discussion now. Look, considering that that we shafted them, where they were.
True.
And to be quite heartened by the way they are working on with South Otago High School, and that's due to the work of the staff here and that, because at one stage they weren't very supportive of that. I think we would be remiss if we didn't actually support this and get that monkey off their back, really.
Any further discussion? Councillor Cathwood.
I'd just like to support Councillor Graham in that. I was here at the same time. Have the same thoughts as yourself. And I know that this group, the South Otago Athletics Club, again, another great group of volunteers. I think you'll actually find that that money will get spent on a large range of improvements So I'm happy to support this motion. Absolutely. Investment services.
It's really remarkable to see the amount of honesty in spoken.
You asked for it.
A lot of the new councillors won't be aware of the past, so obviously it still has a burning effect on some of the existing councillors. Right, well, if no further discussion, I'd like to, for all those in favour, please raise your hands. Unanimous, carried, thank you. South Otago Motorcycle Club 2.15. Questions from staff, please.
The new player. Is this the first
questions?
Question to start. So is this the first time this particular club's turned up?
Through your worship, that's my understanding.
Questions, councillors? Not, we'll go on to discussion.
Oh, actually,
Good question.
it's going to be a ridiculous question. They mentioned a trotting club track in there. I mean, I didn't know we ever had a trotting track in Belclutha, and it sounds like they were helping to maintain it for people to walk on. Their push bikes on, I presume.
As your worship, as probably the most frequent user of the facility in terms of what's going on, there are no active trotting horses using that, and in fact it's degraded significantly in the years that there haven't been. As a result, and the trotting people used to keep it going, and it's quite a large area of land, obviously, in terms of that space. And I don't know team, but you know, I don't think we're putting much money at all, if any, into the maintenance of that space, and they've taken on board the maintenance of it for the rest of us public users. That and a lot of people do use the tracks.
So if you want to see Steve trotting about in Clutha, pop down there. Councillor Smith.
Yeah, just in discussion, I'll be supporting this. It's quite amazing. We've got a lot of young.
We're just still in questions.
Sorry, no questions.
Now we're going to
Nothing. I'll be supporting that. We've got a lot of young motorcycle riders representing South Island, New Zealand. I'm led to believe we're actually holding New Zealand motocross champs here some Sundays. There's 300 cars down there. It goes all day, and these guys are going overseas and that as well. So if we can help the track, help them represent South Otago and New Zealand, I'm in full support.
I think what Councillor Smith's saying there is just reminding you that didn't read your submission reports what goes on down there. So. Councillor McCrosty.
I've had quite a bit to do with these guys over the years. The last 3 years in a row, they have run rounds of the New Zealand Championship over 2 days. And if it wasn't for Dean Bond, Dave Ladder and families, that probably wouldn't have got pushed through. What they've done off their own backs, and especially Crazy Dave, unbelievable. So I would actually like to move that council does approve funding this, and we might as well do it from Rachel's fund.
No, I don't think so.
The Facts and Reserve Fund, look, it's the first time ever, and these guys, man, they have some people down there.
I'd like
Well,
to second that.
just on, well, we're still in discussion at the moment. I haven't asked for any recommendations. But I'm getting the swing of this gig. But what they're asking for is just a drop in the bucket, really, by what they put in that submission report, and that is colossal, the effort that goes in down there, and the economic benefit to the immediate community of interest is, it's the $4,000 they're asking for is nothing compared to the benefits for the Clutha community. So would someone like to make a recommendation?
I'll have a crack at that.
You can get Councillor McCamney to do it for you.
No, the council approved funding of 4,000 to South Target Motorcycle Club in 26-27 as a grant to be funded if we can from Parks Reserve Fund.
No, I think you meant the
Sports
reserves.
Reserve, yeah. That one.
Sports
That
ground
one.
reserve.
Yep.
It's a one-off grant.
Same bank account.
I'll just get Ange to read it out.
So that council approves funding of $4,000 to the South Target Motorcycle Club in 26-27 as a grant funded from the Sports Ground Reserve.
Do I have a second? Councillor Harris. No further discussion, I'll put it to the vote. All those in favour, please raise your hands. Unanimous, carried. 2.16, Kaitangata Community Centre.
Yep.
Questions, please, for staff.
Very similar to the other community.
Yeah. So it's pretty much in line with everything else, councillors, to what we've been seeing. It's today.
Is it a question?
No one's got any questions, or well, if no one's got any questions, I was going to go to Councillor Graham for a recommendation.
No, I just had a question actually, but
Right.
we can finally
I'd
get
love
around
to hear it. Please tell us.
Is this the first one from Kai today? Just asking.
We'll certainly want it for a friend. Discussion. Councillor Cantor.
Yeah, I'd be happy to support this. Obviously, it's just inflation, escalation costs gone up. And you come in for 3,000. It's funded by the community, majority of the community, so I'll be happy to move it.
Any further discussion?
Yeah, look, this facility is widely used right from Anzac Day to, I think there's a weekly nurse or practitioner, is it weekly? Libraries in there, it's always looked after, so yeah, it's a mere pittance for what others are asking. So I'll be fully
It's your community of interest, councillor, you should know what goes on down there.
The Thing Club.
Councillor has.
I fully support this as well. I'm biased, but.
But
If there's no more discussion, I'll be looking towards Councillor the Kaimate Award to make a recommendation.
yeah, can you get some glasses?
Yeah, it's written. Does approve.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't know.
From the community facility, right?
Yeah, that's the one.
I'll second that, your worship.
Any further discussion? Councillor McAtamney, Kennedy, Harrison, Capwood. Vote them up, trustee. Righto. All those in favour, please raise your hand. Unanimous. Thank you. 2.17, the Balclutha Community Garden. Questions for staff. My first question will be the sewage and waste. Is there a toilet there at the community garden?
Through your honour, there's a house on the property at the front.
So do they have so there's someone living in the house?
No, it's not rented out, but it's the owner. Yes. The native, the man has a house on the front, we got it.
Yeah, so is there sewage available? Is there
I don't know if it's available or not, but
and the water then, with the case of water would only be for water in the garden, wouldn't it?
it'll be the rates.
The issue, your worship.
The rates are pretty expensive.
It's including rates, mate.
Add another 30% on that.
Yes, your worship, but yeah, the whole thing is that the person has an empty dwelling and an empty section that is allowed the community garden to use, but the property attracts rates. And so the issue was, the owner would be saying, why should I be out of pocket to provide a community good? And that's all the reimbursement they're looking for, is effectively the reimbursement of the rates.
So in the past, he's donated it, but they've given him a $500 donation each year, was in the report.
Yeah.
So now as you're saying, can I have the rates?
A whole lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there is probably an option down the track, he could sell it, so they'll be back up, move.
Councillor,
Thank you. Just a question for staff. Can these people or this landlord not apply through the rates relief? Would that not cover what they're asking?
Sharon might be able to answer that. They normally.
Could they not apply for rates relief, or does that not cover what they're asking?
Through you, your worship, they have applied, a Brisbane Community Garden applied on behalf of these people for a rates remission. And that was granted for 2 years, I think, potentially. I'm just trying to find that right now, actually. Because they couldn't do that, he had to do it himself because it's his property. And he can't get a rates rebate because he must live in the property. So there's all those things that they do. I'm just trying to find that.
So I might open a community garden.
There was another mention, there was a reporter when we talked to them about looking for a different land with the council.
yeah,
And relocate, and they're actually quite keen on that as well down the track, just for.
Yeah, we'll get into that discussion. So no further questions, apart from the one that Sharon's looking for an answer. Well, we'll get into the discussion then, just as Brenda's kicking off. They're looking for alternatives, but there's a trotting club down there, they're a pretty big garden, one of them.
Floods every now and again, so they get water.
Right. Sharon.
The rabbits will love.
Thank you, your worship. So we granted them a rates remission in 23-24 for we'll revisit it in 3 years depending on what the garden's doing, but we only remitted the rates component, not water, sewage, or
Because that's all you could remit, right?
Yeah. Righto, discussion, councillors. Councillor Kennedy.
I'm actually happy to approve this when it goes forward. I still think, I did put it to our local councillors here that, and as you see, it's in the, going forward, this isn't a property that's always going to be there. That gentleman is ageing, could go up for sale, but going forward that I'm pretty sure we have a bit of council land that'll be around that we could really use this for this group. It's quite widely used in the community, and I don't think they have any problems in getting produce to anybody that they want to.
Councillor Catholic.
Yeah, again, seen the group, met the group before, look at the same situation again. So yeah, I'm happy to support it. I always do a lot of great work in the community. Yeah, as long as it's funded from a community of interest. Be my approval.
Councillor Graham.
There's a community garden in Milton, is that on council land?
No, it's on.
It's on the reserve, back with the heritage thing, isn't it?
Councillor McTammy, you're grimacing a bit there.
Well, just a comment there, councillor Catholic said community of interest. I assume that means Lower Clutha.
Yep.
I don't know if there'd be a lot of people from Clutha Valley driving down to the community garden again.
Maybe you should vote against it.
Your worship, just Lily, where was it funded from last time, please?
It's free worship. It was funded from the investment surplus in 25.
You're talking
Which we don't.
also talking Kaitanka to Tucker Point. Paying to that Lower Clutha.
Sorry, if I could just clarify, it can't just go to Lower Clutha, it's got to, we don't have a
That's 50-50, isn't it?
Yeah, it's 50-50,
That's
so
50-50.
parks and reserves or community facility.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it'd be pretty Clutha orientated.
Oh, yeah. close as I can get.
Well, the investment fund covers everyone, you're gonna.
Right, any further discussion?
No, there's no reason.
Would someone like to make a recommendation?
I will. I recommend that council approves. You know, was it?
You need to figure.
3448.
What's the number, where is it?
3448, including just.
Including GST.
I'm sorry, councillor, the previous one we did, that Lily's showing, was actually, we were happy to say it was approve a grant to cover the costs of services, water, sewage and waste. Because it'll be determined when rates are determined.
Right.
To the Belfast Community Gardens in 26, 27, funded from wherever you're wanting.
Oh, yes, no figure.
No, we didn't do that last time, and at least it covers it, because then we set the rates and we'll know what it will be then.
Yeah.
So where are we funding it from?
It's your decision, councillor.
It'll have to be community facilities, right?
Second that.
Right, discussion. Councillor McAtee. I'm hearing you, it's their community facilities rate, but you're right, it's only the one community that's major benefactor of it, so
But it's the
it's
trouble,
up to debate.
why I will not argue a lot on this one is it's not going to be a killer to the people of Waterhead and West. We have to pay that rate.
Come and get a pumpkin.
This group do give to the food bank too.
Oh, certainly, yeah, no, we're meant to be
Others
championing
around the
our
district,
community
well,
volunteers, they do a massive job. Yeah. Well, I dare say some of the elderly around the town, the community housing and so forth. So.
Cool.
What are you looking at?
Sorry. Was someone looking at you, councillor? Right. Well, there's no further discussion. We'll put it to the vote. All those in favour of Oh, hang on. Who seconded it there?
I did.
Councillor Cattle. Got that noted? Yep. We'll take it to the vote. All those in favour, please raise your hands. Unanimous, carried. We will move on to 2.18, Papua Districts Community Association. Questions for staff, please. Pretty self-explanatory. Playgrounds have been a topic. Community-led, they know what they want. Any questions for staff? If not, we'll go into discussion. If there's no discussion, I'll just ask for someone to make a recommendation. Councillor Harrison.
Council approves funding of $2,000 to the Papua and Districts Community Association towards their playground upgrades funded from Parks and Recreation.
Yeah, Your Worship, I know it's been topical since we've raised the point that you found a new reserve. Right. But
need to wear it out.
The general principle that we've always applied to living and working and community plan funding has been the investment account as opposed to that reserve account. So whilst I haven't sort of said anything while you've been looking at other things in particular, where that relates to playground and our place community sort of general funding, I'm just highlighting the general way we've always funded those is through the investment fund.
Anyway, I'll second Councillor Harrison. Motion.
So it's got to be funded from
Motion.
Parks and Reserves. Sports ground reserves.
Is that what you call it? Parks and reserves.
Parks and Reserves.
So rural parks and reserves.
Yeah, so are you saying rate funded through Parks and Reserves, or are you saying Sports Ground Reserve, which I've, or are you saying the investment fund where they've been generally funded from?
Well, the investment fund.
Oh,
Would you want to read that out, Ange, when you've typed it up?
From investments.
Capital. There was a lovely chat presented to us online that day, with submissions.
That the council approves funding of $2,000 to the Papatoa Districts Community Association 26-27 towards their playground upgrades funded from investment capital.
Moved councillor Harrison, seconded councillor Catherwood. Have you got a?
The thing was actually on mine that we got the presentation from Figure Sullivan. Just if you remember rightly, it was actually already promised. The chip had already been promised.
Yeah, we're aware of that.
Previous year it was actually, was not coming from an investment fund.
Should have been budgeted.
Or anything, it was already there, but it just never actually got delivered. So anyway, it's 2,000.
So what do you propose?
So I'm just like,
You're proposing an amendment, or did you just like that?
No. I just wanted to
Right.
remind people. It's a reminder. It was
Reminder.
already agreed.
Yes, we're well aware of that. It was pointed out the submissions. So all those in favour, please raise your. Unanimous. Carried. We're done. Thank you. We're done.
So the budget summary.
Cocoa Mouth Crib Owners Association, 2.19. Questions for staff, please, councillors.
Okay, it's your ground, isn't it? It's you, not Dino.
No, it's in the old fellas ward there. Yeah. He stole us.
Any questions for staff? I've got a question for staff. So the Crib Owners Association, have they got their own like resilience group down there like some of the other communities are doing? Are they specifically for the Toko, or is it part of a bigger one with Project Bruce, or?
Through you, your worship, I'm not aware of that they have. They do definitely work together when there's an event, but I'm not aware they've got a formal group formed. Sharon might.
Thank you, your worship, but through the recovery manager stuff we've been doing, I know that Project Bruce has been working with them and to other communities to organise getting pods for when we have emergencies set up and stuff like that. They're still working through that process right at the beginning, but I know they do have a group working with Project Bruce.
Right, so they do have a group work in progress group. Because my other question would be then, by replacing the existing free Wi-Fi service with a battery backup system, generation connection capabilities, so hence the question, are they working with Project Bruce? Like, if they are, there might be something a bit better than what they're proposing here. Would we be throwing good money out the bad, or do we need to wait, defer? I don't know.
Through you, your worship, I don't think the Wi-Fi service would change. It's just that when they had a long power outage, it stopped. So this would give them a bit more resilience to keep that operating in emergency.
Right.
Yeah. So your worship, this became quite evident during the flood. There was another damage during the flood, and they had, like this, 2 years ago, but they had no contact at all with anyone.
Really?
They were isolated.
Councillor Graham, is this in your area?
Yeah, and they can be quite isolated quite quickly. The river is really close to the road along there. So look, now that they're part of a progressive ward, more than fully support this.
Councillor Smith.
Yeah, just on that 2024 flood, I was involved in that. Yeah, and there's only 11 hours of telco on that repeater, and that died. So then there is no contact, and when it's flooded on both sides, and we actually chop it and talk to them. And then,
wow. So there's no questions, no more discussion. Looking for a recommendation.
I'm prepared to move the recommendation that council approves it as it's written and be funded from the investment fund.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Councillor Cotton. Any further discussion? There's no further discussion. We'll take it to the vote. All those in favour, please raise your hands. Unanimous, carried. Thank you. 2.20.
sorry, can I just get that? I missed it.
Councillor Cotton.
Cotton.
Questions for staff? Just a question. This is what Hillary came and spoke to, isn't it?
Yeah.
If there's no questions, we'll move into discussion. If there's no discussion, I'll be looking for a recommendation.
I'm happy to move, Your Worship, that we approve the funding of $1,018.24 to Catlins Coast Incorporated in the 26-27 year towards installing new map and care code and penalty funded from the UAGC as recommended.
Very good. Everyone's clear.
Sorry, Your Worship, just checking. They didn't recommend that it was funded from the UAGC. So they're highlighting that the annual grant we make is funded from the UAGC. I think we'll just highlight that this, as we understand it, is just a one-off project.
So investment fund, Your Worship.
I'll second that.
Is that seconded by Councillor McCroskey?
Yeah.
Across, okay, both of
Okay.
them.
Thank you. If there's no further discussion, please show of hands in favour. Unanimous, carried. Thank you. Crookston Cemetery Trust. Questions for staff? Councillor Smith. Councillor Crosby.
How can you raise the cost of living at a cemetery? I like it. Cost of living. I did read it.
Not in any time.
Bruce, you got any?
Well, staff, good luck answering that question. Councillor Cotton.
Thank you, Your Worship. My question is, for staff is, why, or is there any reason, or what is the reason that this isn't on the Parks and Reserves schedule? And covered over there.
Jules, please.
So there are a number of trustee operated cemeteries, and this is one of them. So they do get a small grant. Some other trustee cemeteries don't get any grants at all. But yeah, they get a small grant. They keep it really tidy.
To maintain it.
Yep, and they do mowing and take the income for burials and things like that. So it's just one of those trustee operated cemeteries in the district.
Yeah. Thank you.
That might be why they call them a trust.
Sorry, does it say where it's funded from currently?
It's through our cemetery funding, which is funded through the UAGC.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jules. So if there's no further questions for staff or discussion, I would like someone to make a recommendation, please.
Yeah, I can, I'm happy to approve funding. It's an extra $1,000, isn't it?
Yeah.
To the Crookston Cemetery Trust in 26-27 to increase the operational grant from 2K to 3K, funded from the usual place it's funded from.
Cemeteries.
Thank you.
Yeah. Are you seconding that, Councillor Frost? Yep. Councillor Frost. Any further discussion? Hello, Sharon.
Sorry, apologies, I just have one question, Your Worship. The way that is worded when I read it, does that grant just stand for 1 year and drop back to 2,000, or is your intention it continues at 3?
I think,
This is the argument.
so I think this is the argument we're going to be having is our LTP's coming up. We've got to, as I know, we've got a trust cemetery operation. No whack at it. It's going to come to the LTP for increased funding due to increasing costs.
Your Worship, I think the principle we need to be applying to the LTP in relation to all our grants is we need to go through the grants. We need to be bringing to the LTP that they go into the a question about bringing it into the baseline for the LTP and then moving forward. And then, of course, we look at whatever other decisions we take. But I think just as a general principle, we should be bringing those in to the LTP. So we don't have the same problem again. But we can do that homework. We'll pull them into it. Then you'll see what's already built in as a consequence.
Right, we've had a motion.
Right, no further discussion. We've read the recommendation. Go for a showing of hands. All those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you. Apologies, we do only have one left to go, 2.22, but
For your worship, we've also got the additional Australia Community Centre that I mentioned at the start of the day. That was added into the table.
right. Well, I'll just carry on. We're running out of time here, but we're going to break our time limit. So I need someone to resolve that we can carry on. Councillor Frost, second to Councillor Kennedy. At 3 o'clock, it's 5:2 now. Right, 2.22, WACA going forward, 2 submissions. Any questions for staff?
Yes,
I was just going to say, for your worship, the 2 requests received from Waka going forward were submitted on the community funding submission form, but they've actually been reported to the annual plan and as part of the infrastructure strategy and delivery department's report. It might be coming up, but so we don't actually need to make a decision here as part of the community funding.
Right. Thank you for that update, Lily.
I was going to approve funding of the area on the highway.
We get Councillor McAteer.
Okay, so it did concern me though that the idea of sealing that Waka Valley Road clearly estimated to be a lot of money, and it said we would endeavour to look at it. But I'm guessing that if we commit to that, that's a lot of potential staff time and cost to go down.
For your worship.
Yeah, it's already.
It's in a different report for discussion.
Yeah, okay.
Not in this part.
It's not in that one. I thought it was
I-
part of their submission.
For your worship, I've only noted it in here because it was submitted on a community funding request submission form, not the general annual plan submission consultation document. So that's why I've noted it in here, just to make sure I haven't actually missed it off, but it's actually reported in a different department report because it doesn't actually fit in community funding.
It's in item 13, other public
Yeah,
submissions.
but they did mention it, that's why I brought it up, because it wasn't mentioned in their submission.
That would possibly certainly bump the valuations up on the eroding, wouldn't it?
So the last one you were.
Investment funds, let's do it.
Yeah. Right, we'll move on to what Lily was talking about, the West Otago Community Centre.
So, for your worship, as I noted at the start of the report this morning, on the table, it's printed, highlighted in orange is the West Otago Community Centre. They inadvertently did not submit, but wish for their increased operational grant to continue. In the baseline budget, they currently receive $16,878 for this coming year. So requesting $15,080 to keep it at $31,958 for 26-27.
Questions for Lily?
Yes, councillors, the issue is that if we didn't, so this is one of those ones where they didn't realise it was that the baseline hadn't increased, and therefore they didn't submit at the time, and then when we realised that the baseline hasn't increased, they would lose what was funded previously, meaning that they wouldn't get it again. And if we don't raise it now and deal with it now, we have had the situation where after we've had the plan go out and approved, 1 or 2 months later, they then come back and say, hang on, you missed this off, we didn't realise this, and you make another decision, but you don't have that ability to change the rate, you fund it from a different source. We're just cutting that off, and because we're aware of the situation, that this is the old story about it was only a one-off approval when it's needed for 2 years, which is the next year, basic one. Others have been picked up. This one wasn't, right?
Yeah, that's correct, but through your worship, it is worth noting that Lily makes every effort to contact all of the community facilities that we know of, right? Not just this one, but everything that's on that table at the annual report, like a whole heap. So they should be well aware, and Councillor Kennedy talked about this earlier, that she hadn't chased up, but we do. And so they all know that they are able to apply for funding, and they all should be well aware of situations like this.
And totally agree, and it's not a criticism of staff, but I'm just making the point that if we know the situation, if we don't do something now, you're still going to get a request
Absolutely.
2 months from now, right?
But we do make every effort.
So it's been missed in the baseline or no?
No, what happened one year
Yes.
was that it got missed, so then they had to come forward and then thinking that, it now carries on as that, but it doesn't until it goes through the long-term plan and then it becomes a baseline. So it's gonna have to be redone this year again. And I will just put in there that the insurance is 30 grand.
This,
It's hungry out there in Western Sydney, aren't they?
maybe close up to the amount.
Again.
I'll be back
Yeah.
next year to.
Hopefully. So is there a recommendation in here for this? Is there a late item, Lily, or something?
Yes, through your worship, like I said, it is obviously inherent in this because they have.
Well, that's the
submitted
10.
it. That's why it's added, so there
No,
is
it's
actually a recommendation
Other public
as part of the
submissions.
report, so if you agree or do not agree to fund this, we would need to make a recommendation that will go into the minutes.
Which I'm about to do.
Yeah, so you, Joe.
Well, we better stop for a break.
Recommendation coming.
Councillor Megatemini.
I would like council to approve an additional grant of $15,080 in addition to the current operating grant for the 2026-27 year. Funded from, I'm assuming that's the community facilities, right?
So additional 15,000 is one.
15,080 is what's requested.
On top of their,
The current operation.
what's the current?
15,000.
31,958, less 15,000.
Through your worship, the current baseline grant that they receive is 16,878. So Councillor Megatemini is approving $15,080 in addition to that 16,000, which will bring it to a total of 31,958.
Correct.
26.
I'll second that.
Community facilities.
So, well, right for discussion, once again, it shows you we need to get our communities on side with their facilities moving forward. It's a very, very big discussion and a very big topic to secure their futures. Any further discussion? We'll put it to the vote then. All those in favour? Against? Carried. We'll break now and then we've got another couple of items.
No.
Back into live streaming. So welcome back. I'll have to call for an apology for His Worship. And Dr. Martin, if someone could move it, please. Thank you, Councillor Cotton. Second, Councillor Heatherwood. Okay, so we are on to up to page 159, other public submission requests.
Madam Chair, perhaps we could just also do the request recommendation to receive the report.
Someone would like to
So
receive the
moved.
report? Councillor Cotton.
Yes.
Councillor McCroskey. Thank you. All those in favour?
Aye.
So who's got speaking to the Titus?
You're up. Thank you. I'll take this report as read. I know there's quite a number of items here, I think around 11 public submissions. I'm assuming you'd want to go through each one of them. Yeah. So you can just kick off. Item number 1.
Yeah, sorry, Tyrus.
Yeah.
We were already jumping ahead. We did mean for you just to deal with one at a time.
Yeah.
Work your way through them.
Yeah, we'll go through it. Yeah. So first item, Luther Primary School have submitted a request for pedestrian crossing on Glasgow Street. So the transportation team are in support of this. We still do need to conduct technical safety assessment, but we do think if proven to be viable, we can action this in 26-27 using existing maintenance budgets. Yeah, I'll take any questions on that one.
Councillor McCroskey.
So the funding required, approximately 35,000. And is it only the 33% that we would fund?
Correct.
Through the road funding?
Through the road fund.
Thank you.
So it will be 33% of 35,000.
Yes.
Would be CDC would be liable.
Got any other questions or discussion?
So then is that reading correctly then?
No, it's still, that 30% funding is still going to be within existing budget. So we're basically saying no rates.
Yeah.
Cool.
Lock it in.
There we go.
Recommendation?
Yep.
It's roughly 11,000.
The council approves funding of approximately $35,000 for the installation of the crossing on Glasgow Street to be funded from existing budgets.
Just checking team, sorry, did you need the approval in principle? That you were going to do a technical safety assessment, or is this different from the second resolution?
No, they both go hand in hand. So we're requesting that council allow us to go ahead to start conducting the technical assessment, and if proven to be viable, we would go ahead with the construction.
Yeah, okay.
Are you
I'm happy to have that first, both recommendations and approving the 35.
Happy to second.
Thank you, Councillor Harrison.
It is read.
All those in favour? Councillor Graham?
Oh, sorry.
Unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Worship. Item number 2, the ratepayers and residents of Tukuliti have submitted a request for speed limit reduction around the area, as well as sealing of Smith, Clare and Dowsing streets. So the first request for reduction of speed limits is already on our to-do list, and we think it's achievable in 26-27. Smith, Clare and Dowsing streets, in terms of sealing that, we would need to do an assessment first determine if it's viable. However, we can only realistically do any work in the next LTP period. We have no seal extension budgets at the moment available. We would need to make a special request to NZTA for 26-27. Yep. I'll take any questions on this. Just to add, the indicative budget of 180,000 for sealing is just for a basic otter seal. So
Is that like a dust suppression seal?
Yeah.
Questions, Councillor Harris?
Is the $2,500 for the speed limit review covered under the NZTA/council budget?
Yes, it is.
Who's for you, Chair? Would it be the assessment for the ceiling? Would it be better or worse with a change in speed limit? Should that wait till after we've done the ceiling assessment?
I think we can assess both at the same time.
No, it's more, does a higher speed limit give us more points for ceiling rather than a lower speed limit?
I'd have to get back to you on that, but does it?
Through the chair, yes, it does. The speed affects the dust and travel on that section of the road. But it is a closed, Tukwidi is all low volume roads, not very high speed, but it is a neighboring dead end roads. But yeah, to answer your question, Jules, I think we should wait for after the sealing to do a speed, the technical review or the speed assessment.
If it gets there.
Yeah, it gives me points.
So based on that discussion, just checking it, Council, Madam Chair, that you're actually looking at the sequence being investigate the eligibility first. So that would be the first resolution, and then you might say on completion, direct the transportation to progress a speed limit review. So you would need to just switch it around in that sequence. If, you could understand that.
Councillor, 15 minutes?
Yeah, just, I suppose it's a tricky question, but what is the true likelihood of sealing those 3 roads? I mean, is it where is it currently set? Is that just appeared or has that been a possibility in the past?
It's never been a request in the past. I don't think we've assessed it in the past few years. Do you know if there's historic requests?
The historic requests that I've been part of, no, they haven't been requested. They've always been, there's always a list of roads that go in the back of our minds, and Tukwidi has been there, but it's never been a request. So we never really put any priority to it.
Yeah, because I'm just wondering whether all you're doing is delaying, if we're probably never going to seal it, we're just delaying that speed limit thing a couple of years.
Well, that's the chicken and egg through the Madam Chair, is that it's been advised that if we went the setting of speed limits way, you're going to make it even harder to potentially get it sealed in terms of prioritisation. It's available to you, but you would negatively impact the priority for sealing. Chicken and egg.
Yeah. You, Madam Chair. I was just going to say, and I mean, I'm not a big fan for sealing these 3 roads because not many people live there, but I mean, there are quite a few vacant sections on those roads. So the likelihood of people building houses there is probably higher if the roads are sealed than if they're gravel. Because if you're looking for a section of Milton to build a house and you go to take a weddy and it's gravel, you're probably going to go, well, no, I'm not going to build a house here. But if it's sealed, you know, if there's, I don't know, there might be 10 or a dozen empty sections there. If you can fill those over the next few years, the rates from those houses will eventually pay for the sealing of the road.
To counteract that slightly, you've got Springville rise directly across the road.
Probably the seconds and take a weedy up there and those streets would be cheaper.
Okay, that's enough, guys. Councillor Graham.
Through you, look, when ex-councillor Robson Briggs came and submitted, one of the main arguments was that people racing around there taking shortcuts and blah, blah, blah. And the traffic count, I think I questioned her and she thought it might have been 5 a day or something. I don't see how that warrants potential spending of $180,000 for tar sealed. So, and on Councillor Frost's thinking about tar sealing so people build new homes. There'll be a few roads in Kai tar sealed before that happens. But back to if there's 2 or 3 people driving over a gravel road, warrants are getting sealed. I'm looking forward to Co Road from the main road to Cross Street getting tar sealed in the next term. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Graham. We have 2 recommendations here. It's been advised that they be swapped around.
Madam Chair, that was only if you were going down the pathway of looking for the ceiling. There's an alternate pathway that suggests that perhaps focus on the speed limit as being more achievable and making something happen. We did say chicken and egg though, like there is a plus and minus on both depending which direction you go. And I can't recall, and if anybody recall from the submissions, which the submitter was still submitting the same thing, which was there any view on what was more important? Reducing the speed or improving the seal and the dust issue?
I think one was supporting the other. Yeah. I think the speeding was supporting, let's get it sealed. Well, there's a street called Water Street in Kai, if anybody goes down there. Just put it right there.
Councillor Cathwood.
I'm happy to make a recommendation. Yeah, so the council directs staff to investigate the eligibility of some clear dowsing streets sealing, if viable, submit a funding application as part of the 2737 long-term plan process, and that council directs the transportation team to progress the speed limit review, particularly under the land transport rule setting of speed limits 2024 after the result of viability of sealing.
Yeah, that's the sequence.
Yep.
You got the
Happy to second. Any discussion on it? Councillor Cotton.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I assume that viability will be, costs will make up a part of viability. So that'll be a major thing to consider, I'm sure.
Councillor Graham.
Through you, any of these roads weren't put forward for the speed review that we just had, when we submitted 37 to the, none of these roads were on it?
Through the chair, no, they weren't. They have been highlighted by operations, transportation operations, as the whole of Tukawiti to go down from 70 to 50.
So these weren't part of those 37?
No, they weren't.
Okay, so we have recommendations. Is there more discussion?
I was just going to say, we're only voting here for looking at the eligibility. We're not actually, signing up to seal the roads. We're just doing an investigation to look into whether it's a viable option or not. So,
Correct.
Correct. Okay, so we'll put it to a vote.
Yep.
All those in favour?
Please, can you get your hands up? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 so far. Chair.
Oh, sorry, I went for you.
You're going to put your hand up.
Oh, I can't take everything in.
Sorry, who was against?
Yeah, Who's against? Graham and
So some didn't vote.
Harrison.
Harrison.
Where we are.
Sorry. Are you against?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
You got the right number, Annie?
Yeah, we're doing 9 now.
Thanks, Steve.
Yeah. So that's gone.
Next one.
Next one, please, Tyler.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Item number 3, Sport Otago have submitted a request to improve footpaths and active transport connectivity in Tokomariro. We unfortunately do not have any footpath funding budgets, as you all know. So we can do an investigation for the LTP and submit a request. But yeah, there's no guarantee that funding will be approved. As part of the submission, it wasn't exactly clear the extent of footpath upgrades that was being requested, so that would also have to be compared against other footpath competing priorities across the district. But yes, we can most definitely make an assessment for the next LTP. One other item here that sits with Mike Goldsmith's team was upgrading and modernization of playground infrastructure, fencing, and safety around parks. Mike was also proposing to action that as part of the long-term plan. Any questions?
No questions. The report itself, who initiated that, Sport Otago, or was council involved?
The NPS report that was initiated by Sport Otago, they had appointed Arab Consulting to complete that. Council had no involvement.
So
it is real useful information for footpath funding requests, but yeah, we had no involvement with that.
Any other questions, discussions? No?
So I'm probably going to ask a stupid question. The request for better footpath connectivity in Tokomariro. Getting it, I mean, as far as I'm aware, there are footpaths in most roads in Milton. Do they want them extended out into the green space or something like? I know some of the footpaths need upgrading in Milton, but that's over long. Once you've got funding and such things, so I'm not quite sure what the point is there.
Would have been in the NPS report that was referenced in the submission, Councillor. The neighbourhood play system report.
Through you, Madam Chair, we have, some of the requests in the past have been about improving the connections where they go to the road so they can be used by a wider variety of users. So whether that's part of this one, we have done a network in Abruptly where we've looked to upgrade those so people on mobility scooters and things can get better access around the network. So whether it's that, I'm not 100% sure, but that's certainly been a request in the past for any of these. There's been work on it, looking at our footpath network.
I think that's great. They're also talking about making them more friendly for school students travelling to and from school with different activities and things to do along the way. So making them safer.
Sometimes making them safer with footpaths, safer for skateboarders. Councillor Frost.
Excellent.
Are we allowed to move the discussion?
Yeah.
I'm probably quite reluctant to support this, just purely from the fact that it's highly unlikely that we're going to have a lot of extra funding for footpaths over the next few years. So to divert more time and effort into it from start, I just think probably not going to be worth it.
So your recommendation is?
I can handle the third recommendation. But the other, I don't know what to do about the other thing. I can just.
Perhaps to assist, Madam Chair, that you could do something like the council notes a submission in the NPS report as supporting evidence for the long-term plan. Just deal with, we're going to have to deal with the question of do we, what's happening with footpaths and others. There's going to be a potential rating review question around how we're funding footpaths. So if we just simply, we could simply refer the submission in that NPS report to the LTP process and leave it at that.
That's what he said.
Yeah, can I ask Angela's copy Steve then?
So we're just going, moving, Mickey Tammany, that council notes the submission in the NPS report is submitting evidence for footpath funding applications.
No, it's that council notes the submission in the NPS report for the long-term plan. And I understand, councillor, you were quite happy for that third one as well.
Yeah, that we,
So the third resolution there was also there.
So the third one being that council directs staff to consider requests for upgrading and modernising playground infrastructure and improving fencing and safety around parks located near busy roads in the development of the activity management plans for 2027-37 long-term plan.
Yes.
Everybody on
And
with
then we're
that?
just going to approve the middle one.
Not the middle one.
We're not going to do that.
No. Everybody's happy with what we've done?
Yep.
For the seconder? Councillor Castlewood, all those in favour?
Aye.
Unanimous.
Unanimous.
Yourself.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
50 years ago. 15.
Okay, thank you, Madam
50
Chair.
years ago.
Here, to run with the last few submissions from transportation.
Through you, Madam Chair. I take this report as read for item 4 and 5, as they do cover the same question or submission from the one going forward for the sealing of Waka Valley / Clinton Road.
Yeah. How many years?
Questions? Councillor Cotton.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So my question to staff is, in the submission, it says, the submitter said it's been promised for 50 years. So one would assume that staff have done a report, an investigative report on this before in the last 50 years. Do you think, so assuming that's happened, there must have been reasons for it not to have been done, and would you think that would be cost, and do you think that those things are relevant today?
Through you, the Chair. To be honest, that was way before my time. If any report was done. From what I understood from the submission, it came from the previous government way back when. Not sure why it wasn't, and if it was considered in the past. I would assume it is a similar situation to Glenlady, where a whole pot of money was made available for sealing rural roads, and with the next cycle, the next LTP cycle, a lot of those fundings will come.
Just make the point that, like, I've been here since 2014, and there's been no promises since 2014 sealing that road. The council has made no promises about sealing that road.
This is pre-amalgamation, isn't it? This is pre-amalgamation. This will be that.
Yeah.
What they have down there? The Waikato district.
And council just has a process for prioritising, and at any point since 2014, council could have chosen to seal that road and put it in, but it hasn't gone down that pathway to date. Doesn't mean to say it won't in the future. The recommendation talks about doing as we would anyway, to investigate that. At the end of the day, you prioritise things as well, and you put things forward, and then we have to see whether that gets approved in terms of how NCTA looks at
if I can just add, because I have been here more than 10 years, but
50 years.
not that long, it's before my time as well, but through you, Madam Chair, that the last major ceiling projects we got were the likes of Finlayson Road and the Southern Scenic Route. They were very difficult to get across the line with NZTA, and we had to have quite big loans for our shares of those. And just after that period, government ministers were saying, if you can afford to seal your roads, then we'll be looking at whether your FAR needs to be as high as where it needs to be. So that was the messaging that was coming out of central government. We have moved more recently to where it does stack up. We're looking to seal shorter sections of roads, but we can certainly look at it. But that was the messaging we were getting out of central government. And council has actually previously made a decision that says, unless it is going to be supported by NZTA, we're not going to do any seal extensions, just because the cost is so high, cost prohibitive. But that'll be up for council to work through once they get some feedback on what the viability of it and the actual potential cost too, because there's sections of that road that are going to need a lot of earthworks to get it to a state where you would put a seal road on.
Yeah, through you, the chair, I just want to confirm what Jules said. There's section, the cost mentioned in submission number 5 is just for the sealing, and if the road was ready. The transportation team looked at the road, and there's multiple corners where you'll have to batter the banks and cut back, widen the road to make it safe for a seal to go around.
We have bits of traction seal on this road too, don't we?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, I'm looking for a recommendation. Councillor Cathall.
So happy to recommend that the council does direct staff to investigate the eligibility of the Owaka Valley Road sealing and appropriately submit a funding application as part of the 27-37 long-term plan process.
Seconder. Councillor Frost. All those in favour?
Aye.
I'll give it a whole hand up.
Hands up.
Hand them up.
Over your dead body.
Water streets.
Against that one.
Put some houses up.
The gold jewel.
It's part of national significance.
Right, see, no, realise that. Wilford Sound, Owaka Valley Road.
Against, please.
I'm serious. Toll road. It'd be an awesome thing. Yeah, toll road. You're against it as well. Get away.
You
You
guys.
can put me off. You can go
John
on.
Cochran was here, he'd be voting against it.
Eh?
John Cochran was here.
Thank
We
you.
know it's different there.
Come on, we're moving on. Item number 5.
The community asked for it.
Through the chair, I can take item 5 as read. There's three parts of the submission where I'm assuming Donna is going to cover for Cosmos on item 2. Item 1, same as number 4, sealing of Owaka Valley Road, and item 3, the footpaths. Similar situation as the submission 3 for the footpaths in Milton. We do not have any funds available for 26-27, but we can make submission for the 27-30 funding cycle.
Yeah. We're going to $2.
So number 1's been done. We've just done it. Number 2 is, if you agree with it, it's just noting. And there is some papers, we're working through the LTP around that workshop. The next workshop has an item on that. So the suggestion would be that would be suggested as being sufficient at number 2.
We just made a decision on deferring last collection, didn't we? Yeah, that second one. So I'd be advising them that we've made that decision. Saying we're upcoming implementation, but we've actually yesterday made a decision to defer the implementation.
So through you, Chair, so yes, there was a decision that if MFA are in agreement with that we can defer to the 1st of July. This is in regards to recycling options with glass, and as our chief exec just advised that we are bringing a report to next Thursday's workshop to seek direction from our councillors on options going forward on recycling and whatever.
Okay. Cool.
And the third one, the council does not direct staff to investigate the footpath. So we've done number one, so we need to note number two.
You need to solve that one if you agree with it.
Someone's going to move.
And with that, Rachel.
Councillor Harrison, seconded, Catherwood. All those in favour?
Aye.
Unanimous. And the third one, we're looking for a recommendation. Councillor Harrison.
I recommend that council direct staff to investigate the request for better footpaths in Owaka and if viable, submit a funding application as part of the 2027-37 long-term planning process.
Is that what we did last time? Forgotten already, Madam Chair. Did we do that? Is that what we did last time? Angela, what was the resolution that councillor McAtee gave? It was for Toku.
It's to be part, is this in regards to the footpaths, that is, to be part of the NPS report for the LTP?
That was Milton.
And council directs.
But that's for footpaths.
That's specifically for Milton.
Yeah.
Sorry, okay, yep.
So where were we up to? We had a.
So basically,
you
just
moved it?
investigating the request.
Yeah, we had a seconder. Councillor McTierney. All those in favour that council does investigate? Hands up. Everyone? Yeah. Those against?
Just a question. Just on those footpaths. I'm gonna see how look at it. So each community's paid for their own footpaths in the past, isn't it?
No, so.
So how come we vary, everyone's got variable loans, haven't they?
Yeah, I'm just going through Madam Chair, that new footpaths and new Cuban channel historically were paid for by the communities, and we consulted and they made decisions on the level of service. We have flagged that it needs to be reviewed and look at alternative funding models in the LCP process. The other thing that I just will flag is that footpath funding in general has been significantly reduced, so it will be part of the AMP that the roading team are working on, because you're going to have to make some decisions on funding and what level of service you want for footpaths going forward, especially if it is not going to be funded to the level that has been historically with NZTA. So while we're looking at viability of some of these townships, it's actually a much wider question across the whole district, and the team's preparing information and options around that for council to consider.
Yeah, so through you, Madam Chair, so in the current NLTP, the footpath renewals was reduced by 70% by NZTA.
And so in saying that though, if you've got a community that are prepared to pay for their footpath in their community, I mean, that's still viable, it's still doable, isn't it?
Through you, Chair, that'll have to be a part of the discussions with the LTP.
Through the front door doesn't look like it can happen, it's not viable, so, but, I mean, we've got,
Just expensive.
yes, exactly, but.
Item 6, I deem the report as read. This is for a request to reinstate access to Clarendon Cemetery by the Road Reserve. From our response is there is Road Reserve going from a formed road to Clarendon Cemetery. There is Road Reserve. Council cannot prevent members of the public from accessing the Road Reserve. However, we do not, according to our roading bylaw, we do not have to provide vehicle access, but we cannot prevent foot access, similar to all unformed roads in forestry blocks.
Anywhere.
Oh, anywhere.
Anywhere. Farms.
There is historically, it's just most people stay out of other people's farms.
Yeah.
But you're just suggesting that we investigate the issue?
Yes, investigate the issue and looking if there's any viability that we want to reinstate vehicle access to Total Cemetery.
I thought this lady was just asking for foot access because whoever's grazing the road reserve is actually putting fences across, like electric fences, which are quite hard to get over, unless you're a farmer and you're just grabbing them, climbing over, are quite hard to get over. So I got the impression all she was really asking for was the council just to emphasise the responsibility to the landowner that he can't fence across the road reserve. And personally, I don't think that's an unreasonable request. So if there's a paper road on my road and people use it, I don't put a fence across it to prevent access. So I just thought she was asking the council to emphasise to the person that's grazing the road reserve that they can't put fences across it to make it difficult for public access.
Well, I suppose with us giving direction that the staff can look into that and see that, that she can access it, because I think anybody should be able to.
If you the chair, I can comment on that as well. It is a interesting topic to discuss. Different councils have different opinions, but essentially legislation says we cannot prevent access, and it talks about locked gates. The other side of the legislation says that the farmer that has property adjoining to a paper road or unformed legal road can use it for farming activities. So how the farmer would move stock or prevent stock from getting there, that is part of normal farming activities. Except if we would like to actually fence it off and make it form the road.
You're not suggesting that, you're just suggesting to investigate?
Yes.
Investigating.
I'm just giving some clarity on the fencing and outliners across it.
Someone to move that recommendation?
Yes, I'm happy to move.
Councillor Coffin, seconder. Councillor Smith, all those in favour? Unanimous.
Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, I'm just going to step in for Cosmos here. This is in regards to a submission regarding installation of public toilets at the reserve opposite the Beaumont Hotel. It's currently not in our program.
You're just proposing that it be reviewed
Yep.
within the LTP. That's the summary. Thanks.
God, look, I'll make some obscure contract of the worship. I'm sorry, but just go to the pub and buy lemonade. In reality, if there's a pub there, they've already got a toilet. I'm sorry, stop being a cheap artist and just go and use the facilities that are there and throw them a couple of bucks.
Councillor Graham.
How far is are the toilets on the cycle trail? How far away, either way?
Who are you asking?
Well, you probably know more. Where would that?
That's a good one.
Councillor Cotton.
Thank you, Madam Chair. There are toilets at the Beaumont Hall that can be used. And I think that group's trying to get them open up so cyclists can use them, and it's like they're here and the cycle tracks where the CEO sits. But there is a lot of requests. I get them often about when are you going to put toilets at the Beaumont Bridge, so which are coming from locals. But yeah, and as Councillor Ross says, the pub's just on the other side of the bridge as well. So.
But just remind everybody that it's just simply being put to be reviewed. It may be that review says we don't need to go down that pathway, but at least it's being reviewed and given due attention.
I'll recommend that be reviewed.
Thank you, Councillor Harrison. Seconder. Councillor McCroskey, all those in favour?
Aye.
Oh, again? I think you're abstaining, what are you doing? Doesn't know what it's doing.
Yeah.
Not building $500,000 towards it,
He's not building towards
For this one, for this one.
Yeah.
This is
Are you reviewing, Dane?
No.
No.
So you're in favour?
Yes.
Okay.
Waste of time. Where are we?
Gate closure in Glasgow.
What I take, number 8.
That's an interesting one.
Jules what?
Jules, what?
There it is.
So just some slight history to this. We never used to lock the gates at the Cross Recreation Centre. So historically they were never locked. Once we actually put the sealed car park in, we locked them at that point. And as part of a recent review of what we've been doing around the district, we made the decision to not continue to lock them, and we've had a request come through for that to be locked again. So we're just proposing to see how it goes for a wee bit longer. Have had a report from one of the people associated with the submitters that there was some damage at the motocross club, but I haven't had any reports of any other damage in that area. So happy to be guided by council if you want to reinstate it versus continuing to just see how it goes for a wee bit longer.
Questions, discussion?
Yeah, just really, Madam Chair. Yeah, I'd like to disagree with Jules's and the staff's consideration, response, and recommendations. I'm actually the council rep on the Cross Rec Centre. That was 5 of us put that submission in. Targa, Sports Otago, the Rec Centre, Clutha Rugby Club, the Motocross, which we're just giving some money to keep their assets, and the New Zealand Police. There's a whole lot of stuff hasn't been reported, but the motorcycle club's been broken into. The amount of cars through the weekends that are parking there, driving around on the rugby fields. It's just a bit of a concern. It seems everybody's now not going somewhere else, they're drifting in there. One day there was about 30 cars with flags written around the car park and that. So the proposal was that it was actually stopping a whole lot of issues, but yeah, it's just part of the rec centre that put that submission in. For a very small cost, it's not actually a big deal to get the gates closed and open.
What was the cost?
Latest estimate's probably about $2,500 per annum. We'd have to confirm that though.
Does that have to be done at a certain time?
It's done late at night and then reopened early in the morning.
The signs on the gates say 11 and 5.
Yeah. It's not
When it was
quite
being done.
always at that time, is it, or is it?
Normally 11 and 4:35. The gym people start arriving at 4:30.
Question, councillor Harrison?
I was just going to ask if that was the gate out by the Euro Club area, or is it the one further back down to the rugby grounds?
It's the one just before the road that goes into the Cross Recreation Centre.
Right.
Area. So it's not down at the Euro Club, it's on that road.
No, further down when they go to the back.
No.
No.
It's to stop them getting to the Cross Recreation Centre.
We just increased their funding, didn't we?
No, it's not good.
It's not just the Cross
Rec. Madam Chair, it's got nothing to do with the Cross Rec Centre. It was just a part of a range of measures we took to reduce costs. Sometimes there are negative impacts to that, and this is what a submission is about. And you can reinstate it if you feel like reinstating it. All we did was made some operational decisions, and sometimes they have ramifications.
We don't.
So anybody got a recommendation then? Councillor McCroskey?
I'd actually like to move that the council reinstates the Lockwood gate. Even if it was Friday to Monday. Over the weekend, that's but if it's affecting rugby clubs, motorbike club, etc. as well, then I think for the general public, we're looking after all them.
Who locks it?
We would get a contractor to do that, some form. And I was probably suggested if we're going to reinstate it, that we would just get the benefit and do the whole 7 days. We wouldn't try to-
Do we have a seconder for that recommendation? Councillor Harrison. So the recommendation is that we lock the gate again for the 7 days, while that it stays locked. Okay, so we know what we're voting on,
Well,
Just to confirm.
no, it's not confirm where the money comes from.
locked and unlocked, sorry.
My understanding and.
Where'd the money come from?
So my understanding of funding would be, we had it in existing budgets. I don't believe we've changed existing budgets. These were just savings to deficits and things. So it would still be within existing budgets.
Yeah, no change to budget.
So where does that contractor get paid from?
Sorry, Jules.
Budget of what?
Jules, do we
It's
know
funded
where?
from our parks and reserves.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're looking to make operational savings and then have reduced deficits. So it'll mean that we won't reduce that as much as we potentially might. So we would be looking to fund it from existing budgets.
Yes.
From back to the parks and reserves.
Councillor Graham.
Just so I can get it clear in my head, this is the gate that is before the rec centre, right? So it is going to cut out access down to there.
And the rugby grounds and the motor
Touch
track
seven
and
all around there.
it shuts the whole place down. Because they get onto the soccer fields, they get on the rugby fields, they get on the motocross track.
Oh, I'm getting about donuts and everything.
It's happening, but it's just not getting reported.
So no one will be able to get down there.
Well, you can walk. It's just vehicles that are.
Just from 11 to 9 to 5.
That's what the existing arrangement used to be.
Weird.
4 to 5.
Yeah.
Councillor Frost.
Through you, your worship. So I mean, just earlier we voted $10,000 and voted to pay for ongoing running costs for a security camera at Clutha Valley, and here we're talking about $2,500 to lock a gate, which is actually going to have the same result. So I would have thought that's a very cheap option. It's either that or probably we need to put security cameras so we can monitor what's going on and pay for the ongoing running costs. So from my point of view, I think this is a perfectly acceptable recommendation.
Okay, I'll get Ange to read the recommendation.
So
This
the
is what you're
recommendation
voting for.
at the moment is that council moves to reinstate the locking of the gate from existing Clutha Parks and Reserves budgets.
All those in favour?
Can Councillor Smith actually vote on this, then he
He's
put
a-
that submission in?
Well, I was going to make that point in the minutes, and you can expect that although Councillor Smith said that, he is not the one writing the submission. And when he said our submission, that was just a slip of the tongue. Well, he's on the.
I realise that.
As elected, he's elected. Which I clarified before I talked.
So we can, but it is valid. It is valid. The minutes should just reflect that he did not make the submission.
Those against? Anyone against?
Yeah, totally.
Number 9.
Good afternoon. This is in relation to a submission made by the Otago Federated Farmers. Many of the topics that they submitted on, such as the rural water scheme charges, voluntary targeted rates and fees and charges have already been covered and decisions have been made by council. The remainder of their submissions largely relate to matters that will be dealt with in the LTP, particularly as part of rating reviews. So with that context, I'll take this paper as read. Our proposal is just to respond to the submitter, Otago Federated Farmers, with the decisions that have been made by council relevant as part of the annual plan process, and then subsequently deal with the remainder as part of the LTP engagement. Happy to take any questions through Madam Chair.
Any questions? Discussion? Recommendation there?
So you'll see the final form of the submission when you get to adopt the annual plan, because there's a whole raft of minor ones that you get to approve, and this will be in there. That's effectively what that resolution says.
Just in your response there, UAGC.
Yep.
Number 2, you got 2727.
Oh, yeah, I'm gonna correct that. Should be 2737.
Yes, that's definitely coming up for review, isn't it?
Yes.
That's,
So,
I didn't realise how large that affected high capital value ratepayers. Yes, I was quite shocked by Mr. Whiteside's revelation of that. So that's definitely coming up to the table.
Yes. There's a particular workshop where we're bringing it all together for you to tell us which way you want us to, how much you want us to investigate. Sharon's in charge of that.
Yay.
Rating review.
So who's going to move?
Oh, I should move for Dan.
Seconder, please. Councillor Smith. All those in favour?
Aye. Very
Against?
submission. Trevor.
I'm not sure who's covering that. I can cover that. So Mr. Houston made a submission, again covering a range of matters, a couple of them on water that we've already dealt with, including the change to the Owaka urban water rating map, which we changed as a result of his submission. This specifically relates to the Freedom Camping Park in Owaka, and the response has been provided by, I believe, Michael Smith, who is in charge of this particular activity. And again, you'll see the final form of the actual response when we table on June council meeting, when you get to approve the final annual plan. I'm happy to take any questions.
Sorry, just to confirm through you, Madam Chair, if that's what's going to happen, we
Yep.
probably don't want a recommendation to endorse the response because they haven't seen the response yet.
Okay, yeah, it's just, I guess, change that to endorsing the broad parameters of just, the direct.
Would be considered
direction of the
between the
response.
submission and response.
Perhaps we just copy paste the previous one. And we've got council, just take out endorses, just council notes, this will be finalised with all submitted responses at council meeting on the 25th of June. Use that, and that'll address the issues.
Happy.
Does that make sense?
So we don't need to move or second anything?
You still need to move that council notes, this will be finalised.
Somebody move that we note it. Larry, sorry, councillor Cross, seconded, councillor Harrison. All those in favour? Against? Carried.
Thank you.
Same for the next one.
Through you, Madam Chair. This is the final one for new councillors, and to remind previous councillors from last council, what we do, and it's been alluded to, we generally have a number of submissions that make general comments about rates, expenditures, cutting back and such. We generally, those considerations are been part of your deliberations over the last couple of days, and that generally forms a Merrill letter, which responds to how you have deliberated and come to your conclusions. This will be referred to later at item 16, where we'll talk to you about the next steps of finishing up the annual plan.
Thank you, Peter.
Cool.
Any discussion?
No.
Right. Move the recommendation here. Councillor Graham, seconded councillor Cotton. All those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried.
So this is just the recap now based on your decisions, Madam Chair. So Sharon can pick up these.
The one thing we never resolved yesterday was that non-routine maintenance for water.
Yes,
and the
but
staff
we'll,
submissions.
yes, and the part of that though is that if we understand where we sit, you can then, you can still deal with that item 10, which was the non-routine expenditure, councillor. But if we start the process with receiving the funding decisions recap review, get the recap review, you can still, if you wish to, raise something about that item 10 that hasn't been brought forward. So you're not forgotten in that sense, and there's that discussion if you wish. Just waiting for Sharon. Greg.
Yeah, no. Thank you, Madam Chair. I can give an update on that. So the rates percentage is currently 19.80% as a result of all the decisions made today. And we have committed from the investment service 123,500. And just I worked out what the difference was between the 19.80% and 20%, and the difference is 80,000. So that's the amount that would, yes, if there was another 80,000, it would be 20% cap.
So, Madam Chair, with that information, then you have resolution 1 and resolution 2. We've just provided that information, so we would suggest you could get those two items resolved.
Recommendations, who's moving?
Look carefully, just put us on to move.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
1 and 2.
Yes.
One and two. Seconder, councillor Cotton. All those in favour? Against?
Madam Chair, the next resolution was always just that ability that if you wanted to go back and redo everything, you always had that ultimate power to do that. In the past, it hasn't been taken up, but I do still point back to that item 10 of the staff submissions that was held over. And the idea of item 10 was simply that we knew about the deficit and the non-routine expenditure in Three Waters, and the suggestion about item 10 was that if you wanted to, if there were still funds available, then you could consider increasing that non-routine expenditure budget. However, before Councillor McAtamney says anything or makes a say, 19.8, there is very little leeway for any errors that we might make in translation or transition, and there's not much there. So that would be just a staff's position around that in that sense. But Councillor McAtamney might have some other suggestions or other views. Does that help introduce what you wanted to say, Councillor?
Yeah, well, I was going to be prepared to be brave today, and I did question earlier on the possibility of going over our rates cap and what the consequences would be, particularly on, we had that, bankers or the LGFA were pretty clear yesterday on looking to not run an operating deficit. I'm concerned about that potential $500,000 of non-routine water expenditure not being in there. There's a couple of things we could do. We could stay under the cap. We could put some of that 80-odd thousand in and push right up to 19.99. But as you've mentioned, we've got no runway if we get it wrong. There's another decision there. It's got the amend-specific decisions. I will admit that one that disappointed me yesterday was that we chose not to close the Milton pool. That would have given some more discretionary funding. The options there is written to bring that up. I don't know whether to go there, but what is the possibility if we were to go over the cap?
So the question we have been asked before. I mean, the cap is a self-imposed cap. It's not something you would do lightly. You would do it deliberately. For example, if you said we are worried about the LGFA, the bankers, the deficit, and that, and for that particular reason, we would put another 250,000 or whatever into non-routine expenditure. That would be a legitimate reason to go above the cap, should you choose to go above the cap. And that it's not something that you do, that you try to do. We always try to keep to the cap in that, but you have to, Sharon, assist me with this one. You can go above it, but you do need to be, be very clear with explanation and reasoning as to why you would do it, and it needs to be a resolution to do that.
Through Madam Chair, that's my understanding. But that is my understanding that is the process.
Question.
Councillor Castlewood.
So you're looking for $500,000, is what we're saying? Is that what we're saying?
Yep.
So, I'm just looking at, just looking at this figure here with Milton Pool. Take off the rates under community services, 450 grand. So, I'd have you, but with that, in the report was nowhere near that savings, was it?
No, because this is the bit that we don't make any savings from closing it for the overheads, because they get charged anyway. It was purely the sort of the direct operating costs, I believe, that we budgeted that or calculated that at the 150 odd, I believe, Jules.
I wasn't involved in that, but there'll be loan repayments in this too, which you've still got to pay those if you close the road.
127, I think.
I only brought it up, I only brought that specific one up if we are prepared to put more money into that non-routine water. We consider amending it only if we're to put extra through to the water. So the reason I'm bringing it up is we're budgeting to make a deficit. So we're not fully rating. And I mightn't be the most popular councillor in the district for suggesting that we break our cap and go higher, but if that's what needs to be done, then so be it.
Any other discussion, guys?
I'll just make the point, Madam Chair. I mean, that's exactly what the final resolution provided for, that you can take a step back and look at the big picture. And that side of things. So it's a valid discussion that you might have.
Not today.
Yeah.
Right now?
Right now.
No, but we can move to do that and see what happens in the wash-up. And then readdress, or we've got to...
Not for the quantum, council, that you're talking about. Councillor McAtammy's not he's mentioning about the deficit. You could make any sort of amount within that deficit amount suggested to make a change. The issue will be anything you do would take you above the cap. That's what's being discussed. And you do need to make the decision today. That's the point of the looking at it in total. And it's a conscious decision either to do that or not to do that. But it's a valid discussion.
There's no...
It's a big discussion,
There's
so you do actually need to think about it and talk about it. Your understanding.
So we're 100% confident of delivering our budgeted infrastructure projects in 26-27.
Historically,
we never achieved that, do we?
No, but we've refined and refined, councillor. Getting, the carry forwards have been changing. They're a lot closer and tighter to what we were doing, but historically, we haven't achieved 100% of the program.
So, it's either break the cap or claw back. Maybe one item that I may change my mind on, make a decision on this, and then I ask it probably of staff, is there anything programmed for 26, 27? A project of approximately probably $400,000 to $500,000 that will highly likely not get achieved for the year.
It doesn't work like that.
That comes back, it's going to come to water, doesn't it?
Well, no, because they're capital programs and they're all loan funded, so that there's only a proportion that's actually, you need to have $2, $3, $4 million worth of program that doesn't get achieved to get to the 400,000 or 500,000 saving you're talking about.
And it doesn't, through you, Madam Chair, it doesn't reduce next year's rates, it's the year after.
Yes.
Any work we do next year would be loan funded the following
year. Yeah, okay.
So again, the question is, are we prepared to go out and balance our budget?
We have to. Don't we? We've got to wrap over the hands yesterday. Tuesday. On day before. So I'd happily amend that we go back and revisit the decision on Milton Pool. To start.
Madam Chair, perhaps the quickest way to address this is just to go around the table and ask for views from the councillors in terms of the discussion, so they all have their input, because it's a big one, as you suggested, and then we can move things along.
And I just want to make sure that you understand what you're having to think about here. Dean?
What's that with me?
Oh, Mr. Frost then?
Oh,
No,
Senior.
no, I think we do have to make calls now and live within our means. So, yeah, relook at some things.
Councillor Smith?
I understand the situation we're in, I'm not sure the answer. Yeah, so that really we go against the cap and go above and it covers our backside. I gather it's what Councillor McCammie's saying, it's about that risk of the 500 of the unknown in the waters. I do know that Linda and they're looking at trying to tidy that up a bit better with the way the contractors do, but we're not going to know when a water pipe bursts. I drove home the other day, there's one down by the sewage plant, So, yeah, do we review one or two of the major items or?
Councillor Catherwood?
Oh, it's bloody funny, when I start thinking about it now, I'm like, well, blowout's going to turn up in water. It's going to get realised at 27, 27, 28, and it's going to be moved so the water's done well. So then when I look at all of that, I'm going, well, really, do I need to make the decision today? There's nowhere else forthcoming to claw that money.
Well, one of you to me, I've got a question.
Yeah.
About that.
So I'm still thinking about it. Yeah, it's training. As more questions get asked, I'll probably learn a bit more.
Yeah, I think we kind of need to take a pause and have a look at what we got there that we can pull back on.
You got a question there, Councillor Cotton?
Yeah, I do, Madam Chair. So, as you know, Councillor McTammany and I did vote against the Milton Pool opening, and I think there's things like that we could look at. But can we increase, or how much would it cost the ratepayer to increase our water charges to maybe cover $500,000? Like, for example, is it $1 a unit or $5 a unit on the rural scheme? Is it another $30 on the urban thing to cover that cost? Is that something we could consider or allowed to do?
Well, I mean, if you're funding non-routine expenditure in the Three Waters, it's funded to the Three Waters accounts, right? And in the way we do it. So it will be felt through increased rural water charges, urban water, wastewater, and stormwater charges.
So that still puts us over the cap though, doesn't it?
Yes,
Yes.
because they're all part of the rate. So,
Yeah.
it's just that you're asking for, what is the particular impact on, let's say, the rural water unit charges.
Yes.
And that. So I'm not sure we can feed you that immediately. We can give you the overall, this is what it's going to increase the rates by.
Yeah, well, why? So, because the rural rate's not increasing as much as the urban percentage ones.
Oh, not the basic rural rate excluding water.
Yeah.
No, it's where the water's where the water rates are going up.
Yes.
Councillor Frost?
So, as Roger was stating, if we increase the rural water rate, so we bring in another $500,000 or $600,000, how do we then breach cap? If we bring in another 1% in income through the water, surely that must then lower the rate. The rate will increase by a certain amount. It's 1%, it's $480,000. So if you bring another $500,000 worth of income in, it should lower that from 20% to 19%.
No, councillor, because the rural, the rates income is, the rates revenue is what the rates percentage movement is calculated as. So if you increase the rates revenue, you're increasing the rates. So it's not about reducing the rates, you're increasing the rates because you're increasing the rates revenue, charging more because it's a rate. Jules, I think, Jules has the answer to.
So just assuming roughly the rates are about 50% rural, 50% urban. So we've got just under 18,400 rural units. So assuming it was spread evenly on a pro rata basis across all the schemes, it would add about $14 plus GST to every rural water rate if we're funding an extra $250,000 in
Yeah, $250,000.
That's $250,000 to go to rural and $250,000 that can be spread over urban. If we're going to fund that $500,000 deficit, at $14 on the unit rate on every rural water.
Wow.
Councillor Graham?
Yeah, two minds. I'm really reluctant to go over the cap, but I'm thinking of it. 20.8 doesn't actually sound much more than just about kept under 20. I'm trying to think how ratepayer would be thinking. You look at your figures and hey, look, we said we'd get under 20, but hey, we're 20.5. To me, that's just about under 20. Reluctant to go to the cap, but if we have to, it's not going to be megabucks, is it? It's not going to be a figure that, they get in my tacky.
Yeah, but that's your average percent.
So for non-routine, what's the budget at the moment then? What is the current?
This financial year.
Yeah, so
Proposed for next year.
Proposed
5 million.
for non-routine. $5 million. And we've only got 4.5 million. Is that what you're saying?
No, the original request was for 5.5 million. What's currently in the budget for next year is 5.
So non-routine, so that's broken pipes.
Broken pumps, all of that.
Absolutely.
So just a few years ago, we used to only take a total of $7 million for waters. 8 years ago?
That'll be 8 years ago.
Yeah. Well, it's a long time ago.
Yes, councillor.
No, I'm not worried about it. Just don't blow it. Don't blow the 5 million tons of money. It's up to them.
Just make a
Linda
note.
will do a fantastic job and they will only spend 4 million.
I'll make another, when we went out to consult originally, we consulted on 20.58% rates increase, which was above the cap. So, as Councillor Graham says, we're at 19.8. we potentially go to 20.8. If we were to amend that Milton Pool decision again, it would probably bring us back to somewhere pretty close to what we consulted on. And the other thing, as Dane says, yes, sure, push for savings. The worst thing that could happen, the best thing that could happen is we run a surplus.
Yeah.
At a higher rate.
Which then you hand over.
Well, yes, yeah.
Mm.
We hand over. We've got to be honest we can't fudge what we're going to put into the CCO. I mean, we don't want the new users of the CCO to suddenly get lumbered with extra bills and when it was our decisions that pushed their bills high.
I'm comfortable that 5 million is more than enough. We've done a lot of new infrastructure. And we've spent tens of millions of dollars on this infrastructure. Can't continue.
But if we do,
bits every week.
if we don't spend it, then that will come in as a credit going over to the CCO at the same taken.
I have every faith that Linda will do a fantastic job. We'll be trying to spend 4 million.
Question, Madam Chair, so in the event that, and I've got as much faith in Linda as you have, Dane, but in the event we keep below the 20% and we have to go, like we've got to spend another $500,000 in non-routine maintenance, how do we fund that if that was to happen?
Just like we have to deal with, through you, Madam Chair, we had to loan fund the deficits from previous years because we weren't going to rate for that difference in one go, so they were loan funded. Those ones where they're related to water will go across to the entity, so we've loan funded that. The issue was we had a solution, a long-term solution that had previously been okay. There was a plan for things and we got the CCO, but the bankers are the ones that are kicking up around, well, hang on, you need to be careful of that 4% cap now, and that side of things, so you need to be in the right space. So, they're just concerned at the approaches that we've been previously taking, which is loan funding the deficits, and that is not sustainable. That's what they're telling us.
Yes. We're still insured for quite a bit of that non-routine maintenance, aren't we? Like if something blows up. No. So that doesn't like.
Sure, if there's an event, not just for things wearing out and failing.
But then we've also, through you, Madam Chair, there's also the excess. So if there's a flood event now, 500,000 is the excess. It would need to be met. But we wouldn't normally budget for that type of event. That's just one of those things that we can't control. And we'll certainly be doing our best to manage costs. And hopefully with now the Balmoral to Peka scheme online and several old plants not having pump issues repeatedly, then that's all going to help us keep costs under control.
So as an example, what did we spend last year on non-routine, Linda?
5.57 million.
And the year before?
I can't remember the number off the top of my head, sorry.
Oh, nice.
Let's look at the annual report. Oh, that actually would be more detailed. Management report.
No, costs are going up.
Okay, guys, we're going to have to bring this to a thing. Someone got a recommendation? No, you got more questions.
Oh, well, not a question. I'd like to make a statement.
Okay.
I think on Tuesday when we had our friend on TV screen, he made it very, very clear that borrowing money to fund operating deficits was a no-no. So with that in mind, we've only got two options: do nothing and hope we get through it, or, as Councillor McAtammy suggests, go over the cap and be around what we went out to consultation on to keep things right. Otherwise, we're going to be in trouble again for not listening to the advice we were given. So there's two choices, isn't it? We do it or we don't.
Am I allowed to try and progress this?
Yes, okay.
So can I ask a question to the CEO? Do we have to adjust our rates cap before I move such a motion?
No, because it's simply going to be, the consequence of the motion will be a breach of the cap.
Okay.
What you will need to do is when you including, if you're doing a motion that's going to breach the cap, you just note in the motion that this will breach the cap.
Okay. Then I'd like to move that we budget for another 500,000 non-routine water expenditure to be funded out of the water rates, noting that this will breach the rates cap.
You want to know what that does percentage-wise?
No. I know the number is 500,000.
Do we have a seconder? Councillor Graham? Do you want the recommendation read back? You're right? You know what you're voting on?
Discussion.
Oh, discussion, sorry. Yeah.
Resolution.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So would it be prudent for us to readdress the old decision as well? Or not?
A separate motion.
Yeah, okay.
Any other discussion? Okay, let's take it to the vote then.
I'm sorry, who seconded?
Seconded by Councillor Graham.
Councillor Graham. You don't need it read back? You're quite happy what you're voting on?
Yeah.
Okay, those in favour? Hands up.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, Your Worship. Just if you can keep them up, please. This and there's 2. No.
Those against? Okay.
Then the question is whether there are any other resolutions in accordance with that third option. We may revisit something if you wish to. Were you suggesting to revisit something? Councillor Cotton.
Okay, yeah.
He's going to say it.
So just guidance from you, Steve, please. So if we want to revisit something, is that something we will be doing here, or is it something we're not going to be doing here today?
No, the point about the whole paper, that last paper is that whilst you always get stuck in doing individual things, and we historically give you that opportunity to think about the big picture of what you've just made all those individual decisions over. And whilst you haven't exercised it necessarily in the past, it's always available to you that you get that ability specifically to revisit something if you needed to revisit something.
Okay, so I can move the motion as it's written to, I'm trying to find it, page, what page is it?
168.
168. Aye.
We still back up US and
So I take it what you're wanting to try and do is to revisit the Milton pool.
Yeah.
So what that just means is you would just go back to whatever the resolution for the Milton pool one was, and we'll find the page. We can find the page for the Milton pool one, and you would go back to that.
last shot.
Page 100.
Look at the Melbourne pool, you got to look at other stuff as well.
Well, that's what we're there.
That's coming.
Got to save money. Not on one page.
Other things that we
They
can-
go wait for this discussion.
Saying is there a board thing or not?
Sorry.
Good.
Sorry, Steve. Like the Milton Pool's one we can discuss. It's an obvious one, but are there others that we wanted to readdress or do, or not? It should. Like what I'm trying to say is the motion is it going to be wide ranging or broad, or is it specific?
You go specific to that.
Okay. I like that.
Yeah, I mean, we have never exercised it before, but there was always the opportunity for it. It was never intended, and I don't think you wanted, to open Pandora's box about every single thing. You know, there is a list of all rate-funded things that you've approved previously. A lot of them are very minor in those sort of things, right? But it did ultimately, at the end of the day, if you wanted to revisit ones that had specific regional size rate-funded movements, it gave you that ability to do that.
Okay. So some guidance, please. If I want to specifically talk about that, how would I word that?
No, so if you're taking the thing, you would just simply go propose a different resolution for the Milton Pool, and I'm assuming you're saying that council approves the closure of the Milton Pool, which is what one was. And you're specifically allowed to do that by this resolution, this paper.
Okay, so I can move accordingly now. Is that what you're telling me?
You can do.
Yes. Okay. Well, Madam Chair, I'd like to move that the council approves the closure of the Milton Pool for the 26-27 season.
You would need, and obviously you need a second.
I'll second that.
What page was that, topical?
Page 100. Yeah.
100.
Just bearing in mind, Madam Chair, that I did vote for closing it before. So it's not a change of heart for me.
Discussion. Yeah. I mean, it has all been debated, so we can go straight to discussion.
I just have probably more of a question on discussion. So if we vote against that, where does that stand us?
It just stays.
No, in the figures of the.
So Sharon, have we got what current percentage are we up to now? With the five.
Yes, so with the 500,000 in, it's 21.01.
And with the pool out?
Sorry, what was the amount of yours?
115.
20.74.
Why only 115?
That goes down 0.3.
Hang on.
Goes up to 20. 20.
Probably more than that.
It says in the report that it's 115.
We've changed the insurance. Hang on.
So guys, some more discussion on this because you're not saving very little, okay?
0.3 going by that.
You're going through the motions of, we've moved these last 2 days, and okay, we're going to break the cap. Is it that hard? Otherwise you're going to sit here till what time tonight to go back over everything and chop everything out again?
I don't think we will.
No.
Won't be?
It's got to be big ticket items only, and
Yeah.
there may not be another one.
Okay.
There are only two other options and that's closer development.
I've got no idea. That.
Let's say 230.
Not that.
One more.
Not that. This one there. Heating, $196.
Further discussion. So we can move it.
Okay, any further discussion? Okay, goes to the vote then. Or, hang on, yeah, well, the recommendation was that we
Oh, hang on, I'm not here, Larry.
close the pool. What?
You're not talking.
Okay, so you're voting for closing the pool now, okay? Those in favour of closing Milton Pool? Hands up.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Your Madam Chair.
3, 4, 5. Those
Need a second. You got it?
Cotton, Graham, Kennedy.
I need to vote the same way.
Did Rachel have her hand up too? Rachel, were you for?
Yeah. Harrison and Smith. Those against?
Aye.
Across, Catherwood, Crosty, and yourself, Madam Chair.
Yep. So then, that changes our original motion.
Pause closed.
And is that it, Madam Chair?
So I would like to move a motion that we go back and revisit the funding of Clutha Development and to Power. These are huge ticket items. $230,000, you've just voted to save a whole $115,000 from the budget, which will affect young children's ability to be able to learn to swim. And we've talked here earlier today about, what's the cost of one life. So you're happy to shut a pool. There were young children go and learn to swim when you're telling me that I need a $20 million pool in 12 months' time, when you're gifting Clutha Development to Power $230,000 for stuff that is not life-threatening. So both of those organisations, or maybe not Clutha Development, but the Power will be able to survive without the 80,000K. And Clutha Development might just have to suck the sea for a year.
Bring them back one by one. I'm going to vote the same way.
What if we cut back the non-routine maintenance from an extra 500,000 to 300,000?
That's another 5 million. I just can't get my head around it.
We'll just wait and see, but it may not.
Spend millions on water.
May not get.
Yeah, millions. Cost a fortune.
So are you just going to do that one at a time, Madam Chair, or not? You can do it, just see if it flies, but altogether.
Make that decision.
Bring it back, Larry.
You want to do them separately?
First one? Yeah, first one, Larry. What do you do? Right.
I'm just trying to find
They're in the community funding decisions and they're on your spreadsheet. One's in yellow on the front page. Are the two you're talking about?
Yes, so destination marketing, Clutha Development at $100,000. The decision was.
I would like to move that we revisit the Clutha Development Incorporated $150,000 grant.
It has been suggested to me that since you are thinking potentially about that, you may not go down that pathway, but you went for rates for that. Question could be, could that be funded by investment capital, as in the past? So it's still a revision, and it's still a valid discussion of the revision.
Just through you, Madam Chair, noting that LTP is going to have massive changes in rates next year with the three waters disappearing, so it can be part of that wider LTP discussion next year.
Yeah, but I'm talking about saving money for the 26-27 year. That's what we've been discussing. We're going over the cap, so we need to cut stuff out to get under the cap.
Clarifying, Councillor Frost, if that's funded from the investment capital, that would reduce the rates next year by 250,000.
No, this decision 150.
Yeah, no, but each one individually. You decided to rate fund them previously.
So Councillor Frost, since you're suggesting it, you have a choice of suggesting either to not approve funding the 150 or to approve funding the 150 via investment equity. But you're the one proposing the resolution.
I'll just go back to my original proposal because I'm sorry, it doesn't matter where the money comes from. At the end of the day, that's like taking money out of one account on my farm business and putting it in another one. In the end of the day, that investment fund is actually ratepayers' money that's invested. And so if you take it out and use it on something, that is ratepayers' money that is being used to fund that. Doesn't matter whether it's rates or whether it's from the investment fund, and it's like when you use investment fund interest to fund things, that money could actually be going back into either being reinvesting to grow that fund or for reducing rates. So anything that money is used for is actually an impact on rates over time.
So just being clear, it's to not approve the 150, that would be the resolution. Looking for a second, just to help move it.
We have a seconder? No?
Lapses, Madam Chair.
We've got another recommendation?
If not, we just move through and move on.
Anything else?
Yep, I'd like to make a recommendation that we do not fund our charitable trust to the tune of $80,000.
From rates. Wait, that's it? It's your resolution? I'll second that. So I voted the first time round, so stay consistent. What would that do percentage wise?
Any discussion, guys?
20.54.
Sounding better.
Say again?
0.2.
Still over.
Madam Chair, just so if we would like to or chose to fund that in a different way, would we let this motion go or lapse, or would we, how would we do that, or do we move an amendment, or?
You could do amendment.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you would need to do it now if you're going to do it.
Well, in discussion, I mean, like, as we've said, we've had other groups and facilities that come to this table that have ended up in a financial situation. And we have supported them afterthought with our investment fund in the past. So if that did become the case, they can always come back. So if you support the recommendation that's been put on the table, it's not the end of the world for that particular operation. End up in a financial situation, you know where they're going to be coming in.
Come on, we can't go round and round all day.
No, let's go. Vote them up.
An amendment or not?
Okay, I'd like to move, Madam Chair, that an amendment that we fund the payment out of the investment fund, capital investment.
We have a seconder? Councillor Harris. Any discussion? No?
Because they may not need it.
So the recommendation then is that the amendment recommendation is that we take the 80,000 out of investment fund for deployment.
If required, is that added?
If required, or is that?
No, that was just an off-cuff comment, they may not need it.
But I'll take it. If you budget it, it's gone.
Well, that was part of the discussion, the debate we had, wasn't it? They presented that they're working really hard to not have to do it. So.
Okay, so that's right. We're not on voting. You're saying that they'll take it. Oh.
It's all right. You know what the amendment is.
Yeah.
We're voting on it. Okay, those in favour?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Madam Chair, you got that, Ange?
Against?
Aye.
So hang on, who was for? Sorry.
This is against now.
Oh, sorry, I thought you said keep put your hands back.
Yeah, no.
Who's go against?
Yeah, do.
Against, please.
Yeah. Aye.
So how many was that? Each?
against Frost, McTamaney and Christie.
So it goes again.
Okay, so now in the substantive motion, so it's to be funded, the substantive motion is to be funded by the investment equity for the 80,000. So
All those in favour?
6, Madam Chair.
Against?
Frost, Catherwood and Frosty. And you got that?
Yep, what about McTamaney?
You voted for that.
No, he
You
voted
voted
for
for
that. Yeah. Thank you. Right,
Is that the end of the reviews?
that, any,
So then we're on to the next.
so we're on to page 169, fees and charges.
Wait till next year. Can't say no there. We got
Thank you, Madam Chair, and no, I'm not Trey. Here to go. He just had a few things he wanted me to draw your attention to. And the first are on page 172. There's two parts there that outline, one outlines the changes made to this document that you've got since you last saw it, and one outlines some things that the changes won't be made until after today's decisions have been run through. In addition to that, there was a couple of changes on page 175 and 195 and 96 that were just where we had missed a few things and not updated one figure from 220 to 225 around the building. Malcolm is here to talk to you about the building changes should you wish to know more.
So let's kick off with number one, that surely we can move that one, that we've received the report. Please, the mover. Councillor Cotton, Councillor McCrosby, all those in favour?
Aye.
Unanimous. Right, number two.
So the effect of number 2 is that you actually agree with all the changes.
all the amendments that have been made, highlighted in red, isn't it?
Yeah.
Done by the staff.
Questions, discussion?
Yeah, just some questions. There's some pretty substantial changes in some of those building consents. Through you, Madam Chair. If I can probably explain that one, we had engaged a consultant to review the fees across a number of councils to see where we stood, and they come back with a proposal which was basically to advertise our deposits at a lesser level, and so that the fees that we've actually adjusted to are actually no different than the proposed 15% increase that was put forward at the original meeting. We've just simply done some back costing and gone back to our original formula of how we come up with the fee. Bear in mind that they are always a deposit. So if we were to charge the lower fee that was presented before, we would still be charging the difference roughly between the lower fee and the higher fee, because you'd be finding that probably 70% of the inspections had not been paid for on that deposit. So like I say, the model is still the same as the 15% increase. We've just adjusted the deposit figure up to a realistic figure.
Thank you. Any other questions? Councillor Frost?
So building consents are recovered on a cost basis, as in the cost involved in doing the building consent? Or not?
Through you, Madam Chair. Yes, we basically do work solely on a cost recovery program. The figures that we had presented, particularly on the next page where there's like the underlying sheds and that, I've actually back costed those out to figure out what they're costing us, so that the figure is very accurate.
And so the next question is, so where does the $245 an hour come from? How do you calculate that or work it out?
Well, there's a lot of factors in the hourly rate. because we have to pay for our software that we run our building consent program on. We also have inspection costs that are covered within an hourly rate. A lot of people would probably, if I can give an example, remote inspections become extremely popular so that we don't have to travel, but they also incur a fee of $38 plus GST to run the software for that program. And of course, you've got your hourly rate of just running the department, vehicle costs and things, because we don't have additional travel charges or anything. So the hourly rate is quite complex how it's actually put together.
Yeah, there's no direct correlation between the hourly rate and the direct salary. It involves a whole lot of other inputs to the cost.
I suppose I always thought that IT and software was actually meant to reduce costs, not increase them.
We thought that, didn't we?
Yep.
Wasn't the reality though.
There's always a fixed cost to IT, right?
No other questions? Discussion? We've got a recommendation there. Councillor Graham, happy to move? Yep. Seconder. Councillor McCroskey. No more discussion? Moving on.
You've got.
Yeah, move on.
Favour.
Sorry? Yep. Who's in favour? Against? Okay, recommendation 3.
It's just the statutory requirement, why it's separate from the previous one. You just always have to, by law, do a separate one, so that's all that is, Madam Chair.
Recommendation, someone move. Councillor Graham, seconder. Councillor Harrison. All those in favour? Against? Right, cross them activity.
And 4, the standard, Madam Chair.
Mover, please. Councillor McCroskey. Councillor Graham, second. All those in favour? Against? Recommendation 5.
Happy to move.
Councillor Cotton, happy to move. Councillor McCroskey, happy to second. All those in favour? Everybody carried. Thank you, guys.
Last item, Madam Chair. Sorry to hold you up, travelling to Queenstown.
Who?
What page is that on?
Where'd she go?
I've got
Take out, we're going to take loads of time then.
I've got another meeting tomorrow.
We still care. Hey, Queenstown. For one gondola.
Through you, Madam Chair. I'll just make the introductory remark. We're on the home run. A lot of work.
One to go.
Nice. But staff have got a hell of a lot of work to do to get there. The next meeting is the key meeting where it all comes together on the 25th of June. Not far away. At that time, you'll have the opportunity to review the whole annual plan in its entirety, taking into account everything you've decided over the last few days. And together with that, as intimated earlier in the papers, there'll be a summary of all the response to submitters as a job lot. That will take the form of a cover letter from the Mayor, as I indicated previously, and those letters will then be tailored as necessary to deal with the individual response matters that have been discussed previously.
Thank you. Lucky last. Who wants to move this one?
You're the chair, why don't you finish up?
I think I will, yes. The seconder?
Yeah.
Councillor Smith, all those in favour? Against? Thank you, guys. Thank you, staff.
Thank you. Who gets you to explain to? What you've done.
Yeah, I get the question.
You like that?
Every time, you don't see him back.
Where is he going to see?
Yeah.